Hello, chat. Good evening. I forgot to change my name to GM. Okay, I knew it was gonna be something.
Fortunately, that's a rather easy fix.
Yes, although it probably comes up on the stream. No, don't remember that for future meetings, because I don't want to have to explain it.
Me!
I showed up to a meeting with a customer with Merc Snarty as my name because that was what I was playing on the Savage Worlds thing, and like, god damn it.
Thanks to a game of Monster Hearts, I once logged into a work meeting with my name as Roz, that New York bitch.
Yes, no, I'm in both a play reading group and various online LARPs. And at various points, hilarity has ensued.
I can only imagine.
How was the con this weekend?
Con is next weekend.
Oh, con is next week. Oh. Yeah, I'm doing great with Brain Frog. Brain Frog.
Brain Frog!
It's probably that.
Just
There's
rip it
just a
up.
single frog in your head. He's vibing.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the 10 plagues, where if you look at the Hebrew, it is a plague of frog. Not plague of frogs, plague of frog.
One giant frog.
Apparently.
I'm here for this, you know?
Yeah. Hi, chat. So, Mercury's in retrograde, which I didn't used to believe in until very recently. So I'm expecting something to go horribly wrong tech-wise. Oh, can you hear me now that I've turned my mic up a tiny bit? Since I have to reset all the audio stuff every time I turn on OBS. Keep us posted, chat. If anything suddenly stops working, just tell me. I'm watching the stream chat, so we may not notice right away because we will be gaming. Also, I've been experimenting with new caffeine sources this week, none of which seemed to be working until I took an extra dose, and then it all hit me at once. So I'm gonna be the fun GM today.
Woohoo!
But yes, well, welcome to Exit to Eden, a world of darkness in space. Where today, we're going to be playing out my feelings, I guess, concerning the lack of con season this year. If you can't tell by the title of the stream today, and I've got badges from good places for Mojo, for good nerd Mojo. I'm the Chrysler. I'm the GM. It's Chrysler. Yeah, it's gonna
You
be
are
great.
the Chrysler.
I am the
You are
Chrysler.
the Chrysler.
Makes notes for future. Yes, thank you, Arcane. Yes. Or Arcane is the food monk in our group of friends, so it's like, I have a food or consumable based problem. He's on it. Just automatically. It's like, oh, that sounds like something I could Google. And like, yep. Says, hi, I'm the GM. I'm high on way too much caffeine. And yeah, everyone else tell me who you are while I get a chance to calm down. Let's start counterclockwise. So, Klaus, who is you? Or Dracus, who are you? What's going on?
I might be either of those things.
Why am I in this handbasket?
Hi, I'm Dracus. I'm playing Klaus. I'm the resident mage, healer, drug addict, drug dealer, and entertainment guild person. So, you know, it's a fun time over here.
You're
Definitely
Dr. Fun.
Yeah. I am definitely a little bit of an asshole. I do in fact have a medical license, or I did in a past life. And yeah. That's where we're at here.
Okay, Merc, who are you playing today? As always.
But
also today.
I'm Merc. Especially today. I'm Merc. I play Idun, the Wolf Blood. Idun is a security specialist, and I help whenever it's necessary in the course of our work to deal with some unsavory characters. Also, I keep a stash of guns in the office, which I clean every Wednesday.
Have I mentioned how grateful I am for the stash of guns in the office?
In character note,
and knives.
Today's action will start on Thursday, but, you know.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a sec. Josh, hi, still relatively new person. Who are you playing today in this future World of Darkness setting where identity is incredibly fluid along with gender?
Apparently so. So I'm playing Petruchio, who is a vampire, and also the team boss, and also the team hacker. Whether people actually pay attention to me as the boss is another question entirely.
Uh, Also, Josh had a fantastic idea for why Petruchio's identity seems extra fluid to
That was
other
not
players.
my idea.
Oh,
I
that
think that
wasn't whose idea? Oh, that
no,
was Dune's idea.
that was Merck's idea.
Oh, okay, Merc. Dune, why don't you tell us why you think? Oh, Petruchio has a new face again.
Well, as it turns out, I've dealt with a number of vampires, and Petruchio is one of a kind of vampire that likes to be secretive, as it were. So, the way I figure it, anyone who shows up, smells about right, and calls himself Petruchio is Petruchio. Whether it be the real Petruchio or a body double hired by Petruchio. That's all
Higher.
I know. So,
They all presumably think they're Petruchio for some reason.
Yay,
I
Dominic.
learn not to question it. It's more
Hashtag,
trouble than it's worth to get into a vampire's business like that.
hashtag Von True Life. So I'm like, I accept this premise. I yes and this idea. So Josh may or may not be playing the real Petruchio. Who knows? Could be a clone, could be a body double, could be a robot.
It could be that every time I spend experience, my face changes. Who knows?
It could be that every time somebody gets in trouble with the vampire prince, they call him Petruchio and send them here as punishment.
Carved
Which
towards
would
the
explain
limit.
why they're all vampires. I mean,
If you didn't think the World of Darkness could get any more ridiculous, now it's in the future in space. Yay. And getting a little to that, if you're new here, hello, welcome to our weird game. This is ostensibly the New World of Darkness or Chronicles of Darkness, because White Wolf loves its acronym and its acronyms.
I like acronym. We should totally use that.
Anachronisms. Oh, there's also anachronisms.
aphorisms.
Definitely anachronisms.
Dune's a big anachronism.
So,
From his hat all the way down to his coat.
in game time, about 6,000 years ago, humanity left Earth because, apparently it exploded or something, or burnt down or something. And supernaturals stowed away with them. At least most of the supernaturals did. 1,000 years after that, they found what are now called the core systems. About 2,000 years after that, humanity went from those colonies and expanded into the Expanse. And then about 50 years ago, they opened up the Verge systems. And about 1700, by this calendar, all of the supernatural veils fell, and all supernaturals, there is no more official masquerade or veil or anything. Supernats are out, and humanity kind of hates them. Except in Idun system. So our story takes place in Eden City, which is the capital on the planet of Balder, which is the one habitable planet in the system of Eden. Because space Vikings.
We're here for
The
Space
apple of the
Vikings.
system's eye.
So yeah, the rest of the Expanse is slowly but surely following in line with the core in that supernats are awful, we hate them. Let's banish them out to the Verge where it's more dangerous and humanity will actually need supernatural friends to survive. Except in Eden system, that has very strongly been fought. There are groups of assholes, like there are everywhere, but they just don't seem able to get the right traction here.
It helps the mayor's a vampire.
Helps that the mayor is an out vampire, Glax Serendipitous Collins III, a Carthian, so to speak. And the city is absolutely teeming with changelings. So much so that goblin fruit grows out in the city parks on the mundane side. Which is a weird quirk of the city. Also, red thorn keeps cropping up in weird places, but that's probably just a quirk.
Do not smoke the firethorn.
Yeah, don't smoke it. You know that's you know that's in the pamphlet because someone tried it. And don't try it. But then, you know, there was that whole drug ring thing that y'all busted up a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
With the
someone
firethorn laced ecstasy.
So
basically.
wait, what was exactly was wrong with the drug ring? I mean, I can think of many things.
Oh, they
Well,
were making a
it's-
drug that targeted supernats specifically and used firethorn and goblin fruit as its like big two ingredients.
Okay, yeah, good reason.
Yeah, we found it out by somebody going berserk and trying to start murdering an entire bar. So, you know. That's how
Also,
we found
when
it.
our changeling took it and just missed work for a whole ass afternoon.
By some coincidence, Presley is not at work today.
Huh.
Or rather, we'll get to that. Maybe they are at work and the rest of you are not. So yeah, this is our party. I hesitate to say heroes because this is the world of darkness and there are protagonists more than heroes. You know, this isn't D&D. We don't have objective good evil alignments. There's, you know, what works for me and what doesn't work for me, what tries to kill me and what fails to kill me.
We have a humanitarian goal. I mean, maybe we have a super humanitarian goal.
I mean, it helps that y'all
Oh,
are
I'm
on
totally
path-
an asshole.
Y'all are on
Whatever doesn't kill me had better start goddamn running because I'm gonna call my cousins on them.
lots of changelings in this town, very few werewolves. And, you know...
But plenty of wolf bloods because there are very few werewolves.
Yes.
And werewolves are assholes.
So,
Of a
yes,
different variety than mages.
The kind of variety that'll bite your face off just because you looked at them funny. And I do mean that literally, whereas a mage will only do it figuratively.
depends on the mage.
I've yet to see a mage
Depends on the
actually bite
mage.
someone's face off. I've seen several werewolves bite people's face off.
You haven't spent enough time around life mages. Maybe you've spent enough time not around life mages.
Actually, because those are the Thrissus who also work with, their two main things are life and spirits, there also aren't that many there aren't that many Thrissus in town. But luckily, other mages can learn life magic. But
Luckily.
it's just a little more difficult. So
Luckily.
many acanthus. Jesus Christ.
Luckily.
Ooh. So many acanthus. So yes, our party is part of a company, a chartered company called Carve Tourism Limited. They are also a front for an underground railroad that gets various peoples, mostly supernats, but also synthetic humans escaping, you know, slavery, actual slavery, out of the core, into the expanse, out of the expanse into the verge. Eden City being a system that officially does not recognize slavery and does not have any anti-supernat laws on the books. A lot of their a lot of their more esoteric clients just sort of stay in Eden because it's nice here. It's a nice megacity, but the megacity only takes up about 50 square miles. It doesn't take over the whole planet, so there's still farmlands and forests and natural resort areas, and not just for the elite classes.
And werewolves.
And where there is the wolf country, but
Bunch of assholes, a lot of them.
but it keeps out of the city, so everyone else lives in the city if they don't want to deal with werewolves. Except for a couple of large packs of the Lodge of Spires, because they're all Batman.
Welsh Batman.
Well, yeah.
My sainted aunt is one of them.
The Sentinel, who is the highest ranking werewolf in the city, is the Sentinel and also Welsh Batman, because I guess and my players. Lol. So yes, so getting back to that drug ring situation, it does turn out that the drug maker was a proximi, which is the mage equivalent of a wolf blood, so genetically an asshole. decided that he knew best in trying to force human beings to awaken into magehood, and that the best way to do that was to make a or to try and alchemically make a substance utilizing red thorn, which is strangely plentiful in this city, goblin fruit, and other things tied to Arcadia, which is also being an acanthus proxime. Acanthus supposedly are connected to an Arcadia. There's a lot of debate as to whether it's the same Arcadia that changelings come from, or rather get trapped in and then run away from. But this Canthus was very sure of his bullshit. Luckily, was also sure that no one could ever hack into his cheap laptop. So y'all got your hands on that after busting him and delivering him to the vampire authorities, because the person that rampaged was a vampire. At which point the prince, who bankrolls your company and the Underground Railroad, said, "Guess what? This is your problem now." Y'all met the vampire sheriff. It was interesting.
Wait, does the prince live in Eden?
Well,
The Prince of Eden.
you're not entirely sure. Your great grandmother by vampire lineage, Prince Tilda, has declared herself the Prince of Eden City. Does she live here? Does she live outside the city? She only claims dominion over the city. But, vampire princes,
Don't share.
she's been a prince for several centuries. She knows like how not to be found. Which is why she was quite impressed with you, Petruchio, evading capture when they thought you were part of a plot to kill her, which was actually your sire's plot. But luckily,
Right.
you kept hidden until they found out. Oh, that guy actually isn't part of this. And when you were dragged in front of the prince, she's like, "Well, I do need to sort of make an example for you, so I'm going to put you to work rather than killing you." Also, good job evading capture.
Mm-hmm.
Here's work. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's the only lineage your company needs to know about. Anywho, so that you're in an interesting position where you are the boss of the company and you're also the IT department.
Surprisingly common, but
Oof.
But that means you already know you get to do the security your way. And when someone hacks you, you take that shit personally. Because hashtag Von True Life.
I just keep guns around the place. I find it is enough security for me.
So Petruchio, when you started looking into that laptop and saw that the proximity scientist was in contact with someone just called Contact, you tried tracing this email address through StarNet and all the things and just couldn't really get a fix on it. So luckily, you know someone with more computer skills than you, which is a little hard to do, and that would be Granny Flax, who lives out on the Verge, and is kind of a weird old lady cyberpunk goth hacker. And all she asked in return, she didn't ask for favors or anything. She's like, "Oh, I'll do you a solid, but you need to go to the Hackercon for me. I broke my hip and can't go to Eden."
is there anything she specifically wants me to do at Hackercon?
She really just wants you to go there and like listen to the gossip and hang out and send her photos, find out any good stories or gossip. Petruchio, given their background merits, let's say, Petruchio already knows this. If they brought it up to Klaus or anyone else, Klaus, you are in the Entertainmenters Union, and conventions and things like that are kind of one of the bread and butters of the Entertainment Union, and you have never heard of a Hackercon. That's because to most of the world, it is actually called the Expanse Tech Conference. Anyone with enough dots in, contacts or influence of, hackers or crime, computer crime, would know what Hackercon is. It is on the outside. It is this tech conference, which is a lot like I've been trying for hours, but then I get distracted to remember the name of the big tech convention in Las Vegas.
Stark Expo?
I don't know. So it ends up being a weird kind of
Blanking.
mix of a tech kind of expo and an actual like nerd convention. There isn't a lot of fandom going on, but there are tracks and panels. What the etc.
It's been, 10,000 years, 100 planets, several hundred, generations, and there's still at least 4 Woodrow Wilson cosplayers carrying around ice cream tubs. Oh.
Yes,
And presumably the schedule of the hacking part of the convention is kept secret and firewalled from the tech conference.
Well, no, so that's the thing. The etc. Because I realized later that I accidentally made an acronym, but so the etc. It moves to a different system every year, and ostensibly obviously it's in Eden this year because they're not anti-Supernat. But Eden's also home to a lot of pirates. So there's that. So
I know a few of them. My cousins, good folk.
So the con committee basically funds like any convention. The corporation, the small incorporated group that runs the convention, invites tech companies to rent out space on the expo and vendors floors, and with that funds the rest of the convention, which is includes lots of panels on computer security. Which, so this is which can go in a lot of different ways. There are also scholarships, both for education and for going to the convention, run by different groups. But yeah, lots of lectures on computer security, lectures and panels. Also, things like this year in indie video game development, this year in corporate game development. So there are actual like megacorps and people that want to be bought up by megacorps in the
E3.
expo fall. E3, that's it. So it's a weird combo of like E3 and Dragon Con. It's also in a part of the farm district, which isn't a farm anymore in Eden City, but was one of the last parts of the city to be fully developed, where someone built the 20-story Sal Convention Center. Sal or Saul, no one's really sure how to pronounce it because space Vikings. It's about 20 stories. Think of a Javits Center that's 20 stories tall, and it's surrounded by hotels. So it's on kind of the inner edge of Farmtown, right on the edge of the financial district, because they wanted a convention center and lots of hotels near the financial district because convenience. So there's this whole little kind of, and your company knows of it because you are ostensibly a tourism agency, knows that there's this whole part of Farmville that's just like a hotel neighborhood. And most of the hotels in this, like there's individual little like chic little, indie hotels here and there, especially in Riverside, where the elite classes live. But for the most part, the big hotels are all in this area. And they all surround the convention center, so all the really big... So most of the convention stuff, like the expo hall, the dealer's room, the lecture halls, and a few other bits and bobs, they all happen in the main convention center. And a lot of, like a Megacorp will fund for a fancy party at one of the hotels, maybe an indie group. It's an interesting interesting future convention. There's not a lot of fandom that's part of programming, but there is fandom, if you know where to look for it. And if there's anything you're looking for, just tell me. So, Shirkio, being in the Conservators Union, running a tourism agency, getting cheap group discount on tickets for the con was not difficult at all.
Sure.
So you effectively just got them for everyone in the company, because why the hell not? It's Thursday through Sunday. You're not even open some of those days, so your employees can, they're for sure. Okay, it's not your coworkers, it's your employees, so people can go.
He even brought Jimothy.
Well, Jimothy has a ticket, but Jimothy and so on Thursday, presumably you're all going, and Pricely and Jimothy are staying in the office just to work. Pricely doesn't seem all that interested in that usual. Why would I go to that kind of? But
up to you.
So reminder chat, if any of you have a solid webcam set up, we are looking to expand our cast, because unfortunately we lost a few of our players the other week. So hence Pricely is not yet recast, and thus is staying in the office for now. Wonder if Hackercon is a descendant of Hope. I will... Hackers on Planet... ADHD moment. Okay, I will look at that on break. Anywho, so yeah, so Klaus, you have heard, by the time con rolls around, you've heard through your various connections, probably both you and Dune have heard that ETC is also called Hackercon. And it's like, oh, so you're swindling money and contacts out of the Megacorps and funding, a clandestine computer security track or several computer security tracks. Okay.
At one point, I got that and I just went, oh. Definitely had like a loading screen behind my eyes as I put all the pieces together.
buffering, what the fuck? Buffering wheel with the WTF on top.
Yeah.
I mean, presumably there is enough of the tech con that, in a way, the Hackercon is the tail that wags the dog. But
so yeah, it's so Klaus, there are definitely your parties happening over the course of this convention. So okay.
Oh sure.
There you go. Those don't usually start until after dark. Even though in this system, vampires are not necessarily immune to sunlight, but the sunlight does not fuck them up like it does in other systems.
Oh.
So it was only Earth that was his sun that hated vampires in particular. Maybe? Earth that was is a very interesting concept and conundrum in this setting.
But that raises a question, which is, how does the being on another planet affect werewolves?
It does. They have auspices, but they don't know why.
It makes them racially sad because, they still feel the moon, but the moon is no longer there, and the one that is there is no real substitute. But they change anyway on the full moon just because of the memories,
Yeah, each system, even down to each pack, has its own rituals to deal with that. But yeah, basically, this is Werewolf the Forsaken, so they end up having auspices that have nothing to do typically with the moon in their own system. And even those that have charted, like when, people had their first change, was what their auspices are. Like, none of this matches up with our system or the next one. There are packs and lodges of werewolves who are dedicated to trying to find Earth that was, because then they find Luna. And, because you're a port town, and traditionally, so Eden when the Expanse was opened for settlement 2,000 years ago, Eden is basically on the outer ass end of the Expanse, so as far away as one could get from the core. So, and the Verge wasn't open for colonization, but that doesn't mean people didn't go there. So y'all became an interesting kind of way station between the known galaxy and the unknown, until about 50 years ago, when they opened the unknown to be slightly less unknown, which, Stygian gates make it so that someone doesn't actually have to travel through the whole galaxy to get there. But, Dune loves Stygian gates. Anyway. Yeah,
Dune needs very strong bows before even thinking about going through a Stygian gate.
Think of the jump gates from Babylon 5, only they feel like death.
House loves the Stygian gates.
Dune has consumed lots of alcohol before every Stygian gate jump we've done so far.
Dune has consumed lots of alcohol every time Klaus has cast a spell in his general vicinity.
So you're saying Dune consumes a lot of alcohol?
Yes. That's basically it.
Okay.
I bought one of those cartoon, one of those joke flasks is like as big as, yeah.
Yeah.
You
have one of those in your trench coat.
He's got one in his trench coat space, and then he just takes it out and drinks from it every time Klaus tries to cast it with death magic. And
so y'all have tickets for the full run of the convention, and Thursday Patrikia's like, okay, who wants to go through? Okay, Priceley, you stay behind. Everyone else can go to the convention.
June, if you keep your eyes and ears open, here's a budget for spending at the bars.
I take care of my own tabs. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. I figured if you're actually doing company work, you can do it on company money, but it's up to you.
I don't know how much company work would get done at a bar at some sort of damned technology connection.
Hey, we're here to listen for stories, right? People are sure to tell those at bars and parties.
Exactly.
And as an underground railroad, more contacts in one way or another isn't a bad thing to have.
True, but I'm still paying for my own booze, unless, of course, I've got good credit at the bar in question.
Well, I don't know, how often do y'all hang out at the hotel bars? I'm sure in a mega city with a hotel neighborhood, there is an entire culture of hotel bars.
I probably make my rounds just for the contacts there, but
Doing mostly drinks at bars he knows, and keeps his contacts through his cousins at the Wolfblood Mafia.
And I'm certainly going to bars occasionally to be see and be seen, but I'm not really all that into drinking well at bars.
I do not drink wine. Oh, and Josh, just so you know, everyone starts game at full stuff, because y'all live here. There's a neighborhood bar called Saga, which is definitely a place where you can all refuel everything.
Life's too short to spend a lot of time on bookkeeping, and also I have a merit that makes it not really a problem.
Also,
it's a bitch to keep track of between sessions.
I mean, if today in game takes up more than one session, we might keep track of that. But that's not fun for me. I want to see you do weird shit, and then see how it actually turns out.
Deal with the consequences of that weird shit, like getting us permanently banned from a bar.
Have I done that yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, no,
we're permanently banned from a bar.
You burnt down that bar, or rather,
we did burn that down after we got banned. You're right.
That's right. Yeah.
This is okay. Yeah, we did burn down that bar.
So if the owner of that bar starts a new bar, we're still bar and banned from the new bar.
To be
It's
fair,
what are the odds?
To be fair, we never set fire to the bar. It just so happened
Just
the thing
the
we
part-
did set fire to was above the bar. We pulled the fire alarm, so
You know, presumably everyone got out all right.
Did we get caught?
no
Nope.
real casualties.
The vampires helped us get away.
Well, you were working under the auspices of the vampire sheriff, which is different than the city sheriff. City
Yeah,
of
more
50
more
miles.
likely to be actually protective against the cops as opposed to the regular sheriff who just it doesn't matter if they shoot you or not. They'll
Cops, vampires.
vampires are more reliable than cops, and everybody knows it.
In this system, as I've previously stated, emergency services is built in a sane and actually helpful way, and to be honest, is mostly there's a ton of changelings in it. So there are, it's a bit more like how the cops work in England, where beat cops don't actually have weapons.
Right.
Although some of them being supernats, they may or may not have natural weapons, but then
May
may
be
or
a
may
weapon.
then they also have rules about using those and then reporting it. And
Wait, every cantrip requires paperwork?
those would be contracts because it's changeling the
Oh,
laws.
because it's changing the laws. Thank you.
Every contract, yes, includes paperwork.
Lots of paperwork.
Fantastic. Thank you, NWoD. It's not that I dislike OWOD. I started on OWOD, but, NWoD is still... I've played so much OWOD that NWoD is still refreshing. So yeah, y'all are planning to go to the con on Thursday, maybe after stopping in at work, and Klaus, everyone checking in on the drug testing machine, which Petruchio installed because Presley, of all people, kept coming to work high by accident. Whoops.
I don't think any of the times she got caught were my fault.
Anywho, so yeah, are any of you doing any research or investigation into this event before going?
I certainly want to see if anyone presenting dropped enough at the last minute that I can grab a slot.
Oh, you want to? Petruchio wants to present?
Sure, why not?
Sure. What do you think? What would Petruchio want to present on?
Let's do lock-on methods. I am totally not going to play out the presentation because I don't know what to do. But but I see no reason why Petruchio wouldn't want to present if a slot was open.
Okay. Looking at your character sheet. Actually, you know what? Give me a let's have fun with this. Give me a roll of, let's say, presence and politics.
Sure.
So you add your presence
So presence is
dots
4.
to your politics dots.
Is 4. Vampires doesn't apply. Does my hacker specialty apply?
You can, the way I've been using merit points until I actually fix this to work with MET rules. Oh, so fun fact, we're not using standard every dot is a D10 White Wolf game. You add up your dots and then add them to a single D10 roll. So my players
Closer to Ars Magica. Cool.
Yeah. So your politics is a 3.
My politics is a 3. My presence is a 4. So that's 7.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
But my hacking is an interdisciplinary specialty.
It is. So yes, you can add 1 for hacking because that's why I made that. That's why that works that way.
Yep. So that's 8 plus a D10, which gets us a mere 17.
Yes, that's 4 successes. Yeah. So Petruchio, while you're a bit more white collar, you are definitely part of that scene and knowledgeable of the people in it. And while, the traveling convention does have its own con committee and incorporated group that moves from from system to system every year, because it makes it so much harder for the corporations to trace what went wrong. People who are, they start a couple years in advance, working with local scene members to build up, so that, it's not just that a con drops into your town like a sudden tech circus. They've been building up contacts and community around here and interest in the event for a couple of years, especially since you need to, it's any convention, you have to fill out all the contracts like 2 years in advance, if not 5. So yeah, you know who to call and what message boards to check out, and what parts of the dark web. And let's see, what have I got? Sorry.
I mean, this late is pretty early. It's pretty much clearly too late to to propose something. But if someone's dropped, which is the kind of thing that happens.
Okay, so in terms of more computer security, so there's a track that's more like, it's technically the pop media track, so it's more like video games and movies based on video games, or video games based on other media, and that kind of, so that's a bit more of a fandom. Then there's computer security. There's an entire track about StarNet, called StarNet, Good, Bad, or Ugly, is one of the panels that is missing a person. There's another track about Stygian gates, Stygian gate codes and where to find them. Another that is more specifically like the Megacorp track, where there's both people presenting about what Megacorps are doing, but also smaller panels about what they're doing in cybersecurity, and one of those is current trends in Megacorp cybersecurity. There's another one called How to Protect Your Election Data, which is on the kind of more general cybersecurity track that's kind of more miscellaneous.
Now, given that I have some interesting territorial issues with Megacorps, I'm certainly interested in attending the thing about Megacorp security, but I don't think I want to present on that one. Presenting on the StarNet one makes a lot of sense, especially since I've done some fairly insane hacks and can talk about what they could have done better.
Yep. There's also a track on computer archaeology, which, when you're 6,000 years in the future, archaeology is computers. And you happen to know Granny Flax kind of moonlights in that, but sadly she's not here. But that might be another one you want to sit in on and see if,
yeah,
maybe
totally.
As an attendee, and say, like, they found this over there. The Stygian gates themselves are, actually, I amend that. The Stygian, there isn't a Stygian gate track that falls under the computer archaeology track, because Stygian gates weren't built by humanity. They were already there when y'all got here. But we
I'm
use them
curious
anyway.
what
and I think
tech people have to say about Stygian gates.
StarNet is also technically archaeology. It didn't even wake up until the Thurazaz War, curious enough. So, but StarNet is so vastly used by the cyber community that it gets its own track, but there are kind of blended panels with the archaeology track.
Right. And I think I'm also, in terms of just agenda, I'm also looking to upgrade my gear.
Oh yes, there is.
Yeah.
There is an entire vendor's floor the width of the Javits Center. Unfortunately, it's in the basement, so people are a little cranky about that.
So wait, so is the vendor's floor where you pick up hacker and spy gear, or is that where you pick up the E3 style stuff and the other stuff is more sub rosa?
Well, from what you've gleaned about, and also, they have a website.
Yeah.
So you go in after past registration, and the first Javits Center sized floor is the expo hall. So that's going to be Megacorps, and that weird kind of way, like the expo halls at Gen Con, where it's like part display, part sales, maybe taking orders, part networking. And so there's some of that, but the more nitty-gritty stuff is going to be on the vendor's floor, which is in the basement. So a Javits Center-sized basement. So half a city block.
Oh, so and that's sort of more of a swap meet style, as well as having vendors.
There are official companies that are Megacorp sponsored, and things like if you've got a Megacorp made phone and need fixing it, like they probably will have a kiosk down there, because why the hell not? But yeah, more you get that runs the gamut from like official licensed tech resale down to how I see plugins are kind of like tattoo parlors. Like, this is the trendy new plugin. It makes your eyes glow in UV light, and it makes a constantly exploding pattern of glitter on your skin, and like plugins get weird. Some of the Dunes are very practical, but they're not all practical. Some of them are just weird.
It sounds like the any one of the exhibition halls at the not exhibition, well, some of them are exhibition halls, the market halls at the State Fair of Texas run the gamut from official things to artists selling their art.
Yep, there's also art, digital art mostly. There's also antique dealers.
Yeah, I was wondering, or people, potentially people from hacking families clearing out their basement.
Yeah, that too. Estate sales. You probably know some local vendors who are doing that. From Idun System. Yeah, especially since Idun is still, So part of the Idun System history is 50 years ago there was a silent war against a great invisible alien enemy that overrode the brains of Supernats and used them as berserker puppets. It was a thing. At that time, Idun System didn't have a standing army. However, all the local pirates had a vested interest in keeping this system from being taken over. So effectively, you still have a merchant marine, which is all pirates.
Merchant.
A lot of them are official members of the Merchants Union. They're legit. So there's a lot of gear that runs through Idun System. So from your ridiculous roll of 4 successes, yes, like some of those folks will be in the dealer's room. More so than although there are occasional like independent corporate bodies and groups displaying their stuff in the expo hall. 9 times out of 10, they want a Megacorp to buy them and give the money and take over distribution. And it's everything from video games to new OSs to synthetic humans.
Not on Eden.
Yeah, that's the thing that it's a little gray on. It's like, if you want to investigate that, because you're not sure if they're gonna have actual people on display, because you're technically not allowed to have slaves in Eden, but the Megacorps are still selling them.
So wait, are synthetic humans not on Eden, or synthetic humans are free on Eden?
They're free.
And if you have, which means that if somebody buys a synthetic human, what they're effectively doing is getting a contract for work for some period of time, but that person is free.
More or less.
On Eden.
Yeah, it's a bit of the confusion of, Daenerys taking over, was it Marine, where it's like, but we don't know how not to be, like, so one of your recent jobs was, a certain class of synthetic humans, the LAU, line by Chiron Corp, was recalled. So y'all got a, if you want to look on it, it's, what is it? Synthetic Stream in Neon Green kind of episode. It's a few episodes ago. It's on the YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. Go check it out. Someone came into your office in a bad, fedora and trench coat saying, I'm one of them, please get me out of town. They were a gift from Chiron to the city when Chiron wanted to buy some, buy some cred in the city. So effectively they gifted a slave to the mayor's department, and the mayor's like, at that time, not the current one, but the last one, was like, okay, so we're emancipating you. Okay, I don't know what to do now that I'm emancipated. I wasn't programmed for this. And so they basically gave them a job in emergency services because they were effectively a medical droid as a synthetic human.
So you mentioned the mayor's changed recently. I was looking at my character
In the last 5 years.
in the last 5 years. So the mayor that I think is ridiculous is in fact the current mayor.
Yeah. The last one, I believe they have like a 10-year term limit, which is good when a vampire can be mayor. So, yeah.
I would just like to say that the recall from the Chiron group felt like a personal attack against me.
This is I'm that Buffy DeHoffrin, don't go for the kill when you can go for the pain, GM.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you helped a synthetic human. Basically, that person's, they had grown into like, no, I like being emancipated, and Chiron isn't being super clear on what they're doing to the recalled synthetic humans. So
It's people.
It's people. So basically, they became friends with the current official city sheriff of, like, the mundane sheriff, not the vampire one, who basically gave them 24 hours to get out of town before they would have to start looking for them. Meanwhile, there are still elite class humans in this system who are not all that nice. So what they have is synthetic humans that are contracted to them as servants, with a contract that renews every year, so technically they could leave if they wanted, but...
Where do they go?
It would cost them a lot of penalties if they broke contract.
So it's
So slavery then.
Slavery is a thing in the future World of Darkness, because it's still the fucking World of Darkness. Meanwhile, tell vampires that their ghouls are slaves, and you see all the cognitive dissonance roll out. So yeah, Venture slavery.
I mean, if you completely change your memories, so they just really like you and want you to do what you want, is that really a slave?
Not to mention how wolf-bloods are treated in the wolf country as second-class citizens to the werewolves.
Not really second-class citizens if you're not really treated as people, are you?
Then again, neither are the humans.
At least the wolf bloods the werewolves will breed with and treat them well if they've born wolf offspring. The humans are just fodder.
Anyway, convention. So yeah, they're slated to be in the expo hall. Something about synthetic servant. They're calling it as just synthetic humans. They're not saying servants or slaves or cannon fodder or anything. But that's interesting. And a whole lot of discussion on the local boards on the dark web is just like,
That's definitely something I'm going to have to take a look at to see if there's anything that I need to fuck some shit up over.
Oh, good. I don't want to go, but I'm glad somebody is doing that.
I would like to take a look at it as well, and perhaps then go to the bar afterwards and see if any of my cousins are around.
Oh, we've got a bot. We must have made it as streamers.
Hydration bot show up?
Can you ban them?
Oh.
I don't remember how.
I can.
Okay, thank you, mods.
Mark's got it. Cool.
Thank you.
Bant.
Friends, we've made it. We must have enough viewers to have attracted a bot. Anywho.
I thought Hydration bot had showed up.
Hydration bot? Oh, we'll find out.
Hydration bot shows up to streamers who stream for more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. Every now and again, I don't know what the exact criteria for hydration bot are, but they'll put in chat every now and again. Remember to drink water, because apparently streamers were forgetting. Like, remember to
Hydrate or
drink.
die.
That I don't mind so much.
Yeah, but
No.
they literally call it hydration bot, so you know it's a bot doing it.
That I think that's bot powers used for good. That was clearly, click on this,
Shady as fuck link.
or what's the term now from that silly video game? Sus. Click this sus link. So yeah, the Chiron is looking sus, but Chiron always looks sus, and that's a thing. So,
Mega corporations.
Yeah.
As evil here as they are in Shadowrun.
I won't say there isn't plenty of Shadowrun influence in this version of this setting.
And that's why hackers are the good guys, sort of.
Criminals are always the good guys. Yeah, sure. Okay. Again, protagonists, not heroes. So yeah, pretty much anything else you want to know about the con. So yeah, there's gonna be lots of tracks. The panel rooms take up floors 3 through 10, and there's other things kind of scattered amongst them, like there's the video game track, has their track room, plus a kind of what sounds like it's going to be a boardroom that they're calling the Video Game Designer Think Tank, where there's going to be just all, ongoing like games and challenges and things for indie developers to try and prizes and fun things. Meanwhile, on the dark web boards, there are various challenges and bets and things going on who can fuck up so and so or so and so's company, and they're having bets of money and favors and such, like you do right before Hackercon. There's also something no, this wouldn't show up on your dark web, but yeah, so you see a bunch of that happening.
Is anyone I care about being targeted in that?
You do notice someone asking around if Narissa Flax is going to be around, and someone mentions that she doesn't go to Eden. I'm not sure why. She'd love it there, but so that you do find like a circle of people talking about Granny as if they know her, but like in nice ways. Like, oh, Granny's not going to be at con. Aw, but I love hanging out with Granny at con. She does the best weird shit for a little, 190-year-old little old lady. Also, she brings cookies.
Oh,
I love Granny.
Well, the other two are doing their dark web shit. I am canvassing my cousins at the local bars to see what they have to say about this convention.
Okay. Roll me. Let's say this for you doing it that way. Wits and streetwise.
Let me find it. Okay. And I will add in 1 dot for allies wolfbloods because I am trying to talk to my cousins.
Sure. Open your character sheet.
So that's 4 and 4. Okay. So I start off with 1 success at least. And everything else is just gravy.
Yeah, basically, successes.
16.
So that is 3 successes. So yeah, you find out a lot of the same things Petruchio did, only one of your cousins has like or brings it up on your phone and shows you. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm descended from the iron. Oh my gods, I forgot what you're called. Thank you, over-caffeinated brain. You're skipping over the info I need.
It happens,
Iron Masters. I think it's Iron Masters. Yeah. So yeah, you find basically the Wolfblood Mafia's equivalent of the IT department, and they're all planning on going. And they're like, and they're all just hanging out at the are you at Saga, or do you go to one of the more specifically wolf-blooded run bars like you did for that previous adventures?
One of the more specifically wolf-blooded run bars.
Okay. Yeah, you find with the guys in the back room. You're not going to the back room where the elders are because
No, they don't. They don't care about this.
You find some wolf bloods of varying ages that are all kind of nerds. You find the nerd table, and they're all they're bringing up on their cell phones and like, oh yeah, so we're thinking of doing that, and this is pretty cool. And you know what they really do there, right? And they may or may, and if you're curious, they will explain to you what is actually happening with this convention. And yeah. So there may even be other out of town werewolves there, because there are plenty of visiting werewolves in the spaceports, but most of them something about Eden City feels weird to them, so they don't ever want to stay, which is weird because changelings love it here and never leave. And some mages are depends on the mage.
Yeah. No, I figured that much. However, I don't like what I've heard about the synthetic humanoid one, so I'm going to talk to a few of my cousins and see if they'll be patronizing the bars around that time, around that area. Perhaps if they could be convinced.
And they're like, oh, I mean, did you have something in mind?
No, I'm not. I'm not talking to the nerds here. I'm talking to some of the older werewolves, not werewolves, wolf bloods, who were just hanging around the bar. See if I can convince them to. If I pick up their tabs, if they can be convinced to hang around the bars in that area on those days.
And they're like, look.
Make threats outside of the con to the people who are selling synthetic humans.
Okay, so
don't stand for synthetic humans or trafficking them in this area. And
one of them.
If it's synthetic humans, what'll be next? Send the wolf bloods back to wolf country.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. You mean you don't like synths, or you don't like synths being enslaved? I'm just looking for some.
I don't like the fact that companies are selling people like they were ready-made stand mixers or any such nonsense. If any kind of people, are held not to be people by the buns in power, it won't be long next before other people become acceptable not to be people, and that's no good for any of us.
That's alright, I understand. Oh, so if you want us to rough up some company reps or something, is there a plan, or just want us to hang out in case?
If I need your help, I'd like you to be in the area. We may have to inform them that we don't like that sort of thing in this area, and we won't tolerate it.
Okay. And one of the nerds like comes over their phone and is like, so they're not being super clear on whether they're actually going to have humans for sale.
Precisely.
So
if we let them sell synthetic humans here, synthetic human is just a human, what we are to werewolves. Who's to say they wouldn't start selling us back to the werewolves? It's no good, and it's a step too far.
I don't think the Megacorps are going to be doing that.
No, the Megacorps won't.
Megacorps, for all their... I mean, there's rumors that they trade in Supernats. I mean, every Megacorp is rumored to be trying to copy supernatural abilities without actually being supernatural, which is just all sorts of problematic.
No, it's not that. It's
but
out of character. Out of character. Sorry, I'm trying to explain this badly. Dune doesn't want anybody, to be able to sell people inside Eden system, because he's afraid that if a precedent is set, then the people who aren't human but are close, the ones who don't have the protection of being able to turn into giant rage monsters or suck people's blood, would be next. It's not just wolf blood; it's also proximi and whatever the fuck it is for vampires,
Ghouls.
ghouls.
How does Dune feel about the people, the synth humans who are totally not slaves? They're just under contract that they renew every year.
The contracts are no good. It's the people in charge who are the problem, not the synths themselves. Synths themselves are not the problem here. It's the fact that they're being bought and sold and taken advantage of that he's having a real problem with.
Well, a whole lot of people in this bar, in this Wolfblood bar, share those feelings. The nerds, it's kind of becoming a larger and larger group conversation, and the nerds are like, Megacorps keep trying to buy interest in the city, but they keep failing. So I'm not so worried about that. But yeah, I mean, if someone's trying to sell humans here, like roof them up, and
Yeah.
the more thuggish people in the conversation are like, all right, yeah, we can hang out. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah.
So Dune's going to be doing some investigating at the convention.
I mean, there's going to be parties with free food. Oh, but you need a badge to get in. All right, yeah, we'll hang out. And the techies are like, oh yeah, there's always like BarCon. But yeah, okay. Like, we'll be around. I mean,
Yeah.
we're everywhere here.
Yeah. But I want to make sure that, I'll have at least a group of cousins to back me up if I need them, essentially.
All right. Aye. No problem. And yeah. So yeah, you have that standing mooks in the wings if you need them. But
Amazing.
yeah, Chiron and other groups are being super vague about what/how they're presenting at the expo. Because Megacorps. Yeah. And anyone else? Any more questions?
I
actually-
want to see if I can put together a who's who of the biggest the biggest deal of people here, just to sort of know.
Who to Gladhand? Who to Gladhand?
Well, to know what kind of vibe is going to come out of any parties, what the where the interest is going to be, just so I can get an idea of what the social landscape looks like.
And so you know what to bring.
Yeah. I'm here to give people a good time. I need to know what people are looking for in a good time in order to do that.
And once the hotel's filled up, y'all have been handling. Well, there are plenty of people coming in for the expo who are also just vacationing in town for the week before or after. So, this is your business. It's good to know what people are into. So Klaus. Jesus Christ, I min-maxed your sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fun point of interest chat. I built everyone's character sheets. They're all effectively playing pre-gens, but that's because originally this was going to be a module short-term game. And then I just realized, we can explore so much of this sandbox that I built for a LARP at a convention a few years ago that maybe we'll just keep playing. So there's that. Okay, Klaus's sheet. I would say also give me a wits streetwise. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a roll. Oh yeah. Pre-gaming, wits streetwise. Pre-gaming roll.
I've lost track of where Streetwise is on my sheet.
Very bottom.
Skills?
Under
Almost-
social.
Yeah, social skills.
Aha, I found it.
You lost your social skills.
It just disappeared. I just actually didn't have it scrolled down far enough to have seen it. My framing is a little weird on my sheet. It can all fit. It just chose not to.
Oh, sorry.
So that will be. I can do basic math.
And you're doing
17.
So you also got 4 successes.
Indeed.
I really min-max my players, don't I?
There it is.
But then the inspiration for this was very much leverage, i.e. the Shadowrun show that doesn't have Supernats in it. So, and they're all min-maxed up the wazoo. Yeah. Anywho, 4 successes. Alright, so, the club scene, this organization, this ConCom has been, building up suspense and excitement and friends in town for a few years now. So there are plenty of, there are local nightclubs that are giving, convention pass discounts, and again, pirates getting involved like pirates do. Or maybe
As they
smugglers
do.
because they're not famous. I forget how did the Onion Knight say it? Smugglers don't become famous. Famous smuggler's a bad smuggler. Like, pirates get famous. Good smugglers stays. Anyway, not that there is no Warren Bossing saying. There are no pirates in Eden system.
Sure.
Yeah, so everyone in town is a criminal. No, they're not.
Everyone in town would like you to believe they're not a criminal.
Ironically, the city mayor is a
Bloodsucking fiend?
Nosferatu, not a Von True. There is no criminal element in our system. Anywho, so yeah, a lot of people are setting up parties. A lot of the local dealers are, also kind of building up resources and increasing their prices for tourists, like you do. The sense you're getting from your various buddies and contacts and stomping grounds, is there's a few different elements going on. There's definitely going to be a whole bunch of hackers of varying white to gray to black hat persuasions. So people looking to party with all manner of illicit substance. So there's, the more overtly criminal Robin Hoody to criminal elements, like some people are focusing more on variety because they think these people want, more of an adventure than like their go-to. Meanwhile, there's also going to be elite and Megacorp people and their entourages coming in as part of the Megacorps showing at the expo. And they do tend to, they like their minions, and those minions gotta unwind at some point. So, it's more of so some people are stocking up on more high-end, like the future equivalent of cocaine, where it's, and like things derived from medical drugs, which can be more metered, so that they know how long the high will last based on how much sleep they need before the next workday, and, when this needs to wear off, etc. So some people are focusing more on elite clientele, which will be looking for kind of the tried and true expensive stuff. Meanwhile, everyone's upping their space Adderall because uber nerds and elite hacker and elite techie people and all that, and everyone's going to be on overdrive. A lot of stimulants. There are a lot of people that are just planning to not sleep for the duration of con. Some because they're working, some because it's just what you do at Hackercon.
Every caffeine place in the city has placed an order for extra 2 tons of beans.
Oh yeah, there are some people that are just like, they've got their, variety of like, middle class and lower class substances, but also are just like, yeah, and I'm just gonna carry this sack of chocolate covered espresso beans just to like keep things friendly because it's nice. Another person has, the future equivalent of pixie sticks.
Oh god.
You overhear some nerds having a conversation about, so what you do is you take the space Pepsi and you open it and then you put it in the freezer and you take out all of the ice chunks until it's just concentrated syrup, and the carbonation is dead by that point. Syrup and caffeinated syrup, and then you add this many pixie sticks to it, and it's like, and you're like, what are? That's not.
Oh god, it's Benjiade.
And yeah, so Klaus, you get a sense that this is a con culture thing rather than a drug culture thing. Because you're like,
Oh,
that is
okay.
stupid.
I'm
Never
going
mind.
to stock up on things that minions of the Megacorps might want when they unwind at the end of the day, because hanging around those people is sure to get me good stories for Granny Flax and possible secrets that they aren't necessarily supposed to share, but like,
Yeah,
you get drunk, you get high, you can't really help what you say. I've been around enough people under the influence of things now.
So, Adderall and Quaaludes.
Yeah. Carry around some chocolate-covered espresso beans just for good measure.
What a
Out of
treat!
character. Out of character. Pixie sticks were banned from marching band because the flutes kept jamming. They would jam them up the flutes to carry them that way. They had just a flute full of pixie sticks, and it was rotting the inside of the flutes.
That's awful. Oh my god.
It was just destroying the pads on the flutes. They couldn't play.
Oh, no.
As I've learned from having plumbing problems in my home, which is stopping me from working on game stuff as much as I want, the remedy of put a liter of Coca-Cola down, and it's like, oh, because sugar is acidic. But it's also sugar, so what if I just put some vinegar down there and had less to clean up?
Yeah,
So
and no
yeah,
ants afterwards.
it's acidic.
Yeah.
Arcane wants to know if it's regular or jumbo sticks. These are Arcane has done that at cons. It's just carried around chocolate covered espresso beans. There was a fairy tale themed convention, a convention that shall not be named because it is now known to have been run by awful, awful people. But they had a fairy tale theme, so he carried around a bunch of chocolate covered espresso beans and a sign that's like magic beans for trade.
God,
Are your goods good enough? Magic beans.
I dressed up as the fourth Doctor for a con once and walked around with jelly babies. Yes, she kept offering them to people.
Amazing.
Sadly, this expo doesn't have really an overt cosplay scene because again, it's not that big an event. But there will be plenty of people wearing their fandoms there. But yeah. Klaus, all of these things are, with that role, are easy for you to stock up on.
Cool.
And,
I'm now prepared for the social interactions that I anticipate having to get the information that I desire.
And that convenient computer plug-in you have in your brain of all of the drugs. You can, basically, how long do you want to be rolling for? Okay, we'll give you this milligram dose. And
yeah.
You get them in small doses of milligrams, so you can, if someone wants, you can, without having to carry a ton of different sized doses, you're like, okay, take 3 of these instead of 1.
Klaus is also really good at the guess your body weight game for that exact reason.
Yes, and
because that is important for that stuff.
That is now part of your computer plug-in. Yes, and
So I have 2 more minor bits of prep to throw in.
Okay, yep, that's fine.
One is, especially since everyone was concerned about the synths, I want to put a bounty on hacking the company doing the synths and getting information about them and or ideas for hacking their training program to make them more independent.
Okay, one question. You're a bit new to the system, so there is a mercenaries union that has a bounty board, but that is official channels.
That is official channel. You mentioned earlier that they were doing hacker bounties.
Okay, I'll make note of that. That might have implications later.
Yep, I thought that might.
Okay, but yeah, there's definitely a dark web bounty board, especially for cybercrime.
And the second one is particularly since we're attending under Granny's auspices and request. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get
a whole group of like Granny fans are kind of like hanging out once that conversation started. It's like, we miss her cookies. Well, I'll
Yep.
bring some cookies, but they won't be as good as Granny's.
So I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to ask her for a recipe. If she can give me a recipe, I'll just make her cookies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she'll give
sure.
you a recipe. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
so you bake?
I have a craft of 3.
Okay.
I
I mean,
can
so
learn.
do I.
I can help. It's fine.
I'm a stress baker now. It's just one of those things that happens when you're old.
I have a crafts of 1. My crafting involves gun cleaning.
able to
I
prepare a
have
table.
crafts of 1, but
And people
also
were-
I'm familiar with the lab.
And people were saying they were missing your cookies, so I figured I should bring your cookies.
Oh, how sweet. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just broke my hip and darndest thing. Oh well. But I'm still working on that. I'm having a lot of trouble nailing down this contact email. I'm not giving up on it, but this is
Oh, good.
definitely keeping me occupied while, broken hip or something. Yes, so
Or something, because people seem to be mentioning that she has an issue with going to Idun system in general, but I'm not going to mention that when I'm talking to Granny.
now you think about it, she's never visited you in Eden. Like, you met her in a different system, and now she lives on the Verge in like this like kind of weird farming / city it was like they terraformed a city. It's a whole thing called, the system is Caldera. But yeah, it's fairly like agrarian for her, like someone who you think would be her natural habitat would be a cyberpunk megacity. But she's, you've run into her here and there in other systems, but she's never come to visit you in Eden, even though
So she does travel, but she doesn't go to Eden.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is weird, because you'd think she'd love it here.
Yeah.
Either, anyone else in the company who's, like, you all travel here and there, you're a travel agency and an underground railroad, so you might have also met Granny if you feel like your character would have had fun with a 190 little old lady Abermoss mage, who is she has her asshole moments, but she's learned to control it, sort of. She's also not a very good mage.
I feel like I haven't met her yet, but it's definitely one of my goals to meet her eventually. I hear enough about Granny Flax that I want to meet this lady.
Dune probably doesn't, not quite his speed.
What's an Obramos? Like,
another mage, yes.
yeah, but
I'm sure that she's good enough company, but, Dune goes to the bar whenever they whenever they have to travel systems, and she does, hasn't met her there yet.
Petruchio, when you think about something, you wonder, like, so is she such a good hacker because magic? Maybe?
Really? But
Maybe,
is that
is that how that works? Mages are weird.
is she the even to the style of mage where it would help your hacking? I don't know.
Horses is an interesting sphere. Fireballs and hacksaws. Anyway, yeah, when you've seen her work, it looks like just normal hacking to you. But you're a vampire, and vampires have different spells. Okay, so it's about 8:30. This is usually when we take our break. As I said to my players earlier, like, there is a plot here, but I didn't get to go to any cons no, I went to Arisia in January, and then con season from March onwards has been canceled, maybe until 2022. So I have no problem lingering in this plot for as long as we all want to stay here. Like, so if we want, we can take our break here, or finish our con pregame action, so to speak, and then after break we go to con. So, Petruchio, was there anything else you wanted to investigate?
No, I think that's good.
So, which panel does Petruchio want to be on, or is there one that you can think of that would be on such a futuristic, cyberpunky nerd convention track?
Actually,
Got 4
sure.
successes, and I like to yes and my players.
um, um, sure. He will join or help run a it's going to be on the computer archaeology, but not quite in central. Basically on historical hacking tools, and their use and concepts. He's 100 and some odd years old.
I love that.
So what was it called again?
From freaks to frackers. An exploration of ancient hacking techniques, and how their concepts might still be applicable today.
I love this. Yes. Yes, and this is happening. So yeah, you easily find a place, and they're like, do you want us to upgrade? Well, you'll need a speak. Well, they basically, all the badges are the same badge, and then they add like, speaker or lecturer or corporate to it. So they're like, all right, we'll make a note to add a speaker sticker to your badge in particular.
Sounds great.
So, like you know the local contact for the con committee, and that a couple people from ConCom have actually been hanging out here the last few months because they're kind of professional couch surfers and, doing their thing. So you probably get a chance to meet them, and they're like, "Oh, sure, that's really helpful. Thank you." Oh, one of them will be low enough on social grades to say, "Oh, you're a vampire? Okay, so you know a lot about computer archaeology."
Well, I'm not a very old vampire, but
so yeah, they're like, "Great, we have a open slot. So yeah, we've got room for more speakers, and it's too late to refund you the difference for your badge, but it looks like you're already getting the group rate for going through a corporate account. So
yeah, that's fine."
Comp some extra meals for him just to make it up,
Oh yeah, you now have access to the green room, or to the green rooms, I should say, because there's at least one on each floor. So, and they're like, "Well, you're kindred. We don't have blood on tap."
It's all right. I usually handle my own.
But the green rooms are kind of nice, quiet places to hang out and kind of decompress if you need it. So you get green room access now. Because you got 4 successes, I should give you something. All right, so we usually go on a 10-minute break. So is there anything anyone else wants to pregame for con with before we go on break? IRL.
I'm good.
Nope, that was the only thing I wanted.
Okay. Drugs, mooks, and panels.
Yeah,
And
that's the con. We're going to have some off-screen mess of us trying to figure out how to bake. It'll be great.
You've got a kitchenette in the office that has an oven. So that'll be it. Like, I'm gonna make, what? Who's taking point on this? Because
I am.
Okay. So
Does anybody else have a craft of 3? Oh, we're close.
No, but I'm good at science. How different can they be?
So we're gonna have several afternoons where people are tasting our cookies.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I have no idea how this tastes, but I followed the recipe exactly. It should be good.
Yay! Well, you have an intern named Jimothy, so
Jimothy, come here. We need you to eat our cookies again.
I have allies werewolves. They're probably immune to cookies, right?
Dune, call your cousins. We need them to test these cookies.
So
Come on.
The official name of the official title Granny gives us recipe is oatmeal crack. There is not any crack in it. You have checked.
I'm deeply disappointed.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
There might be after class finishes with them.
It is a remarkably mundane series of ingredients, but it does include espresso powder.
Brilliant.
Right.
So yeah, Patricio, give me a roll of Technically, this would a crafts roll like this would be Dex and Crafts.
Okay.
So let's see
Uh,
how well you do at oatmeal crack.
Can I roll stamina to try and taste test? Kidding.
One die.
You do not need to make con saves for Granny's cookies. Like, sometimes her... To be honest, Petruchio knows her personally. Sometimes her legend is rather exaggerated, and she wavers between being embarrassed and being kind of amused by that. But, like...
That's a 12.
Yeah.
That's two successes.
So 2 successes, yeah. These are cookies. They're pretty good cookies. You didn't expect a vampire to be able to
Cook.
make passable cookies, but yeah, these are nice edible cookies that don't hurt anyone and have, you know, a nice little pep to them. And there are gonna be other people with bags of oatmeal crack. To be honest, the espresso powder doesn't surprise you, Petruchio, because Granny is very good. Basically her day job has been like office manager to IT to all the kind of like secretary roles, especially the last, you know, half a century. So she's really good at making coffee. You're not sure if that predates her current job title, because she's not even retired yet. Now she like works for like a university in Caldera or something. You're not really sure what's going on with that. Obviously she's teaching computers because it's Granny, but she's also still like their office manager. So like, okay, did she learn to make coffee before going into that line of work or after?
Sometimes
and I
people
did
just
grow
have
up
a knack for coffee.
And I did grow up in a house of leisure, and can do research. So I do know that a lot of fancy chocolate recipes have espresso powder in them.
Yes. Yep, you would know that as a present hacker who grew up as a fancy person, maybe. Anyhow, all right. So our team of Underground Railroad runners has successfully pre-gamed for the tech convention. Huzzah! So,
Huzzah!
Yay!
So
On this day, honor has been gloried.
Yep. You got it. And it's gonna
Can't
get...
remember what the proper Roderick line is to come after that one.
I have never seen anything so honorable in my entire life.
Something like that. You're
And
the kindest man I've ever met. Why, thank you.
hashtag Zombie Orpheus Entertainment, hashtag Journey Quest. Look it up, they're awesome.
Hey, the World Bible's kickstarted finally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, with Glory comment, I am now wondering about Klingon cookies. But if the cookie's not still twitching, that's probably wrong. Also, Glory...
That's what Pop Rocks are for.
Glory is a renowned stat that werewolves go for, so Dune has Glory set up for later in the festivities if they need to break the glass on the Glory alarm. Lol. Okay, so we're gonna go on a 10-minute break. And I'm gonna time it. Woohoo! So, you know, take a minute, go check in, and, you know, hydrate. I'm not a hydrate bot, but, you know, get
Hydration
some water.
is key.
I need caffeine.
Get some water and or caffeine or some cookies or some oatmeal, and meet us back here in 10 minutes, chat. Klingon werewolves. Well, that's basically how I describe how Forsaken is different than Werewolf the Apocalypse. They basically act like Klingons. And this will come up more if we manage to expand our cast and the one werewolf you have on staff actually finally comes in. Their name is Starseed, and they are part of what's called the Lodge of Harbingers. So they travel a lot. And they will tell you, so if you walk into a werewolf's territory and they punch you in the face, that's kind of how they say hello. But yeah,
that's not telling you to stay out of their territory?
Not
Werewolves are a
necessarily.
bunch of assholes.
Yeah, so werewolves as Klingons is a big thing in Forsaken, even before the space Infinite Edge was developed. It's like, yeah, Forsaken werewolves are Klingons. They're a lot less nice to each other than in Apocalypse. It's almost more like Sabbat. Werewolves are far more pack-centric and territorial and mean to other werewolves. Which in the regular setting is a problem because all their enemies use that against them constantly, and they are constantly losing the battle against the spirit worlds. Anyway, 10-minute break. Hello, chat, we're back. Can you hear me now? Let me just fix something in the overlay, which has been bugging me this whole time. I can't fix it because I am stupid. Anyway, we'll just leave it the way it is before I break it more.
That's a mood.
Yes.
Yep. Especially with Mercury in retrograde or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't, for many years, I was not a big believer in Mercury retrograde, and then the last couple of years happened, and Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, and also, if anyone sees that I accidentally derped and opened the wrong window and showed my game notes, including some rather spoilery NPCs, I don't know how to cut that out of the highlight reel yet, so just don't look at that. Just don't read it, please.
It's fine.
I trust my players. My players are fun and loyal people who are also GMs of their own games, so, you know.
Ouch.
It's fine. Just don't post it in chat.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you all survive and want to see what it looked like, I can show you in chat, or oh, I mean on the Discord. Anyway, yeah, guys, don't link it in chat. Please don't. I know there's only 5 of you. But please don't.
That's the Klingon Institute language, so you know that's not what you're talking about.
Oh no. That's my continued metaphor of the Forsaken werewolves are Klingons. More or less. Starseed, your tiny werewolf employee who travels a lot and is not usually in the system, is less Klingon-y, but they also know that, yeah, they are so bad at so uncharacteristically bad at combat that Dune is still the most werewolfish member of the company. Anyway, so before break, our protagonists did a whole lot of pre-gaming for what's gearing up to a really fun convention.
We're gonna stir some shit up. I hope you're prepared.
Well, kind of the object of the con is to stir some shit up.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
Because that's what we aim to do.
I aim to misbehave.
And to be honest, someone's usually always trying to fuck up a Megacorp, even when they're running the convention, or a convention. So, you know, Hackercon continues to survive under the guise of etc. of ETC. Everything's fine. And now my sensitive notes are on my laptop, so I won't fuck this up again. Tonight I'll be researching how to take bits out of highlight reels.
See, our hacking's been so good so far, we've hacked the GM.
Yep.
There you go. That's it.
I played myself.
Hey.
That is going to happen a lot with me.
I mean, you played us all for a goose, so you know.
That was beautiful. I think about it sometimes.
Abyssal Goose.
It was completely, totally your fault, Klaus.
Oh, yeah.
And not
That
the
was-
GM's fault for forgetting that paradox is a thing for the first 3 months of game. Hashtag made shit. A Golmoth goose. It was fun. Anyway, so yeah, it's Thursday. You know, it's what time are y'all going to the convention together from the office, or are you gonna just all sort of end up there at some point? Like, you know,
I think we all went together from the office, honestly.
Yeah.
y'all stop
Sure.
at the office for various forms of breakfast, liquid or otherwise.
Yeah, dude's gonna
Office
do
coffee is still somehow better than the coffee I make at home.
Thanks, I've already eaten.
I am totally pre-gaming this with like a couple of shots of whiskey to deal with corporate people. Never my favorite activity.
Well, Dune, the best part about working in an office is that the desks have those really big metal drawers, and so you probably have a variety of large bottles to choose from and refill your flask from.
Oh yeah. Not only do I have whiskey in there, I also have snacks and more guns. Matter of fact, the bottom drawer, which locks, is full of grenades.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a reason only I have the key to that desk drawer. That's because I don't trust you all with fucking explosives.
Idun system does allow open carry, so Dune, are you packing?
I am, but nothing too onerous. I'll leave the sawed off at home, as it were.
It is established that Highlander trenchcoat physics are a thing here. So okay, so like a handgun or
Well,
laser
One.
pistol.
visible handgun, and then a few more perhaps, in some not so obvious places, and of course the usual complement of knives and maybe a garrote in case of needing to get something open that doesn't want to be open. It's not really garrote, it's razor wire, you know.
Like, a neck.
A neck, maybe, but you can also thread it through a lock and saw a lock in half.
Okay. Good to know.
That's how you
Klaus,
do it.
are you packing, so to speak, or just the chocolate-covered espresso beans?
I've definitely got some stuff on me. I've always got stuff on me. We
Was
just
it
don't tell
Klaus?
Petruchio, right?
Wasn't Klaus specifically aiming to bring stuff for the corporate students?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Yep.
try to get info out of the minions of the corporate people.
And Petruchio has cookies.
Yep.
Pretty good cookies.
We figured out some pretty good cookies.
Also, presumably some kit for the demo.
Oh, so what kind of antique hacking implements are you bringing aside from, Dune? Dune, intimidate them into doing what I want.
Wrong kind of hacking.
But, Vontrus know how that kind of hacking works as well.
Let's see.
The kind of hacking where I take a big machete and make smaller pieces out of bigger pieces.
Oh, the usual. Everything from ancient whatchamacallit, phone tone, a phone tone flute, just for fun, and a
Thunderbolt charger.
a keylogger chip.
So luckily, so one of the fun things about Josh is Josh has a higher computer score than me and is playing our IT hacker person. So I'm like, okay, I think I know what that is.
It's a chip you can put into into somebody's keyboard, and now suddenly you start picking up all their keystrokes.
It's a good way for picking up passwords if you know that they're in a password field.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you also get a bajillion other, you get everything they type essentially, which is fine if you know where they're typing, but can be challenging to.
Well, and you need a way to get the
Controllable
data
shit.
out. So either you need some way to pick it up later, or you need to have it piggyback onto the computer and send the traffic that way.
Yeah. Which unfortunately is more obvious, so.
Yep.
Depends on how good you are at breaking in, I guess.
Are you wearing a beanie?
I am, in fact, wearing a propeller beanie. It seemed appropriate to the convention.
Oh, okay. Is Petruchio wearing a propeller beanie?
I think a black propeller beanie is entirely reasonable as a method of attempting to fit it.
Okay. And, along with his black business suit.
Of course.
Hello, mortals. I am hip with the young and the youth.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hello, fellow humans,
I am
fellow
also-
kids.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's not quite in frame, but the shirt I switched on into was something that was come up with based on David Gerald.
I will ask about this reference later, but I very much like the T-shirt as a social justice cleric.
Yep.
All right.
Doing probably the biggest anachronism in the con. He's got on his very much
Trench coat.
his trench coat and his suit and his hat and his.
Well, to be honest, to be fair, there are a lot of people here wearing trench coats. It's just theirs tend to be like black leather, and
Yeah.
yours are more like you're the tan trench coat.
No, deep
No?
blue canvas,
Ah.
like an old like someone from Scotland in the 1800s would wear.
Yeah.
With a hat to match.
Fun thing about the future is all these styles are in fashion somewhere. Here, but yeah, you do kind of stand out as everyone else here is wearing a black leather trench coat to look like they're in the Matrix, and you're wearing a blue canvas trench coat to look like you're Scottish. Look like,
Going back to my roots or whatever.
yeah, from the far. Well,
From
Welsh. Look like a Welshman in a trench coat.
Welsh, yes. Welsh fisherman who's carrying a lot of guns.
Yes, you wear others wear trench coats to look like the Matrix. You wear a trench coat to look like a fisherman.
I wear a trench coat because it carries a lot of shit inside the trench coat.
Oh yeah.
It just so happens that the blue canvas ones happen to wear a lot longer than the black leather ones do.
So you will notice as you go into the convention center that there are metal detectors and weapon detectors. Those of you that get beeped on the way in, they don't ask to see it or take anything out, but they basically put a sticker on your badge that is yellow. This person has weapons.
That's fair.
We're not dealing with this right now because it's a world of darkness.
Piss them off at your own risk.
Do you show them your Merc Guild badge?
I do.
Okay, then they also put a red sticker on your badge. So basically the Mercs Union ends up in practice being a weird combo of like bounty hunters and like bail bondsmen and like U.S. Marshals
And Repo Men.
yeah. So kind of in a pinch, security might say, "Hey, Merc Union person, help," and you can decide or not to help.
But I'll always get paid at the end. If I do decide to help.
And there are members of the local emergency services who are also in the Mercs Union, but they're like different things. Because, you used to be the wild frontier in this city, 2,000 years ago.
2,000 years
And
ago.
why fix what ain't broken? You're coming up on the 2,000 year anniversary, which is, a big thing.
Gonna be a hell of a celebration.
Yeah, yes. That's
Klaus
the way
has
to
been
put it.
drooling over it. Been stockpiling drugs as far as I can smell. You need to move it out of the office, your stockpile. It's starting to stink the place up.
It
That's a
smells
good
too
question.
much. Yep.
Vampire senses of smell, are they acute, non-existent, somewhere in between?
If you have auspex, I believe that applies to multiple senses, but
Which I do not.
vampires don't necessarily have super senses otherwise.
Do they have normal senses in terms of
They
smell?
have normal senses. Dune seems to have super senses because they are part werewolf,
Yep.
but not all werewolf, hence leaving the wolf country because it sucked.
Bunch of assholes.
Bunch of assholes.
If you don't have 6-inch teeth and claws enough to tear open a deer, then they don't like you.
Like, no matter, you can tear open a deer with a Bowie knife. Like, come on. It's just practical.
It only takes me 30 seconds longer.
And you don't have to go into risk going into death rage for it. Like, come on. Anywho, yeah, so you easily get, and, emergency services, are working with, the convention center security personnel, and everyone's pretty chill, and they're just like, oh, you have lots of weapons and are a mercenary. Enjoy the convention, sir. And yeah, and all this kind of happens all together at registration. So yeah, y'all pick up your badges, you get them stickered with various forms of, this person's a speaker, this person's carrying some weapons. And
Some weapons.
Klaus, you just get to go in, because I don't think you're doing any of these things. And they don't
I'm
have
not doing
drug detectors.
either of those things specifically.
They don't have drug detectors.
Yeah. I see no reason why I would need to tell them that I'm carrying drugs. I'm not bringing anything illegal into the convention.
And if you are, you're certainly not the only one.
And they certainly aren't going to catch me doing it.
Woohoo! So yeah, the Sal Convention Center. It's about 20 stories high and takes up a city block. Surrounded by hotels. And yeah, you walk in, the front entrance is all the registration stuff. There are a bunch of lines, and they're all moving pretty quickly. So you're all standing in line for a little while, but it's a tech convention. They have a good ticketing system that is not stupid. Which is, should be the first clue that this is run by hackers rather than a megacorp, but they haven't caught on yet.
Out of character question, can at some point this week we get like a shitty MS Paint of the convention, because I feel like we're gonna be, in different rooms at different times.
Like a map?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Remind me on the Discord.
Cool, thanks. Just wanted to put that out there.
That's
At this point, things may be separated by time and distance as a matter of rolling. But we can keep track of it, and yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Convention history. Okay, so directly in front of you when you come in is the exhibition or expo floor, which is just that whole first floor. And then there are signs saying, dealer's room is downstairs. Lecture hall, lecture and panel halls are upstairs. The food court is also upstairs. So yeah, what do y'all check out first?
I believe I would like to go to the dealer's room and see what I can sniff out, as it were, in regards to the synthetic humanoids and that company.
Well, not to disappoint you, but I'll say outright, there are no humans for sale, human or humanoids for sale, in the basement.
Oh, good.
Is the company primarily set up in the basement, or are they primarily set up in the expo hall?
According to the guides you've all downloaded onto your phones, or have the option to download onto your phones, because who would use paper anymore?
Dune has Petruchio do it for him.
Or possibly downloaded into a secure sandbox on your phone if you're feeling paranoid and also aware this is a hackers convention.
Totally fair.
An advice I will give to everyone in the company who is going, because I don't particularly want your phone infected by something from this from the hackers convention.
And then you will offer to show them how to do it, because you have the highest. You are the IT department of your own company.
Yep.
Like, you should do this. I don't even know how to. I'm lucky. I know how to make goals with this thing. Please, do it for me. Thank you.
Help me, man in a black suit and a beanie. A propeller beanie.
Yes. Petruchio, could you please do this for me?
Petruchio number 4. This week's
Thank you,
Petruchio.
boss.
Oh no, I'm the real one.
Boss adjacent.
Whatever
Yes,
you say,
boss.
boss.
You are certainly the boss, definitely. And without a doubt.
Gonna revolving door of Petruchio's. Hashtag Von True Life. Okay, so yeah, you get in there, and there's, just a wide variety of people in business dress, people in casual dress, people who look very overtly nerdy or gothy or cyberpunk.
They're the people who buy the weird plugins that flash and whatever.
Yep, elites, upper class, lower class, everybody's here. All walks of life. Con employees seem to all be wearing black polo shirts with the the ETC logo on it, and a badge that's bright and orange on an orange lanyard, so everyone can clearly see, "Hi, I work here and have information for you." And some are walking around, some are definitely stationed and checking badges. And there are badge checks at the entrance of the expo hall, just like, at Gen Con. I miss you, Gen Con.
We all miss Gen Con.
Press F for Gen Con.
Yeah.
Online Gen Con just wasn't the same.
Nope.
I say never having been to in-person Gen Con.
It wasn't the same.
It wasn't. Still
I
fun.
went
in its
to
own
in-person
weird way.
Anime Midwest, and it wasn't the same there either, so.
So yeah, directly in front of you is the expo hall, and according to your guide, that's where Chiron will have its booth or compound set up, if that's what you're looking for. In the basement, in the dealer's room, there are also indie tech inventor people, but they're more like I don't give a shit about corporate bullshit, I just want to sell my robots. So you do see humanoid-looking robots for sale, but not synthetic humans.
Are they AIs?
Some of them.
Mm.
Or some of them are just chassis that can be programmed with an AI.
Mm.
Or some
Not
people
sure,
are basically selling the chassis to people who have their own AIs. So.
Not sure that's a good idea either, but it's not as clear-cut as the synthetic humanoid situation.
Well, it's a different matter to give form to something like an AI than to be selling the intelligence itself.
Giving a form to them I have no problem with. It's the ones that are selling the intelligences that... how do you sell a sentient living thing?
True.
It should belong to itself.
Well, it's not technically alive, even though it is sentient.
Are there AIs that have full rights in Idun?
Yes.
Orchard.
In fact, yeah, Orchard owes you all a bunch of favors for the goose incident. Because it stole some of its hard drive. The fucker.
We saved Orchard, that's it.
Yeah, the
cool.
People, Orchard is very much like the people's AI. Although what's a little bit creepy is that, there are Orchard kiosks and cameras everywhere.
I will covertly take a picture.
And in the hedge. Which is actually creepier than there being goblin fruit in the mundane world. There are Orchard kiosks in the hedge.
I was genuinely a little weirded out by that. Not gonna lie.
I don't have enough background in the hedge to say whether or not that's a strange thing. It hasn't got any in the gauntlet, and that's all I know about. Or at least, not that I'm aware of.
Well, in the Hysil, in the shadow, the gauntlet is what's between you and the shadow.
Right.
And it's super thick here.
Right.
On a scale of 1 to 5, it is almost a 6.
Yeah. So there has no kiosks in the Hysil, and that's really all I know about.
Yes.
The hedge is not my business, and I'd rather not make it my business,
Yeah.
But I will covertly take some pictures of the AI selling booths and the chassis and send them to Orchard with a tag for further review.
Yep.
Not as a favor, but as a, an information, as it were.
I'm gonna follow Dune around for the moment.
Interesting note. Part of your agreement when buying tickets for the event is that you agree to be photographed. Thus, Thus, there are people around wearing masks. Because, like, if you don't want to be photographed, wear a mask. But this is also a weird, futuristic, but also feudal kind of society across the galaxy, so there are plenty of elites that just wear masks to... Masks go in and out of fashion, to be honest, especially with fancy people.
Hey, if there are other people here wearing masks, I'm probably going to do that too because there are people from the Chiron group here, and I don't know how alike the LAU units look, but I don't want to take that risk.
They're all basically clones, but you
Yeah.
had years to learn how to fix that.
Yeah, I've spent time covering that up, but if someone here is like trained to recognize facial features, I don't want to take the risk.
There are lots of people wearing masks, and then there's actually a vendor in the dealer's room selling masks specifically designed to jam up facial recognition software.
Ah, yeah.
Whether you may not know whether for sure they work, or it depends on the software, but that's how they're selling them. So, yeah, it'll cost you a few credits, but yeah.
Dune doesn't care. Anyone who might take offense to his face is back in Wolf Country and wouldn't see the pictures anyway.
Well, Dune isn't hiding from a Megacorp.
Yet. See how the game goes.
Seems like soon he will be, but you know.
Did I start the timer?
This is Idun, and we won't stand for that nonsense here.
Petruchio, especially since his employees are going to the
Exhibit
dealer's
hall.
room, Petruchio will check out the expo hall.
Okay. So yeah, you walk in, and it's a lot like Gen Con, where there are, big banners over the bigger things. And the main megacorps definitely get central. The megacorps and their subsidiaries get like central billing, so to speak, right in front and center when you walk into the room. And this is a floor the width of the Javits Center. It's enormous. So there are booths that are effectively the size of stores. And Chiron is one of those front and center, if you want to check them out. And they're also just, it basically is like, it starts in the middle with the Megacorps, and then kind of almost like suburban or urban sprawl, kind of, and then, on either side you have their subsidiaries and shell companies. And then further out you have more the, technically corporations, because, you need to incorporate to do certain kinds of business, but more like, indie designers and producers and, the companies that might be looking to carve out their own tiny empire or are looking to get bought out by someone bigger.
So quick question. When you say this is the size of the Javits Center, is the height about the sort of aircraft hangar-ish thing in the center, or is it larger because the local tech lets people build their things larger, so you have like multi-floor stalls and things?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I would say it's the first floor is probably the Javits Center, and so there are booths that are actual multiple floors, including Chiron. Not all the way up to the ceiling, because they have to put the signs. So actually, no, if you can build your booth that high, you can just emblazon Chiron Corp on the side.
Yeah, but you still can't put all the way to the ceiling because of safety regs.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if something's on fire, you want...
Well, and you need enough sight lines to be able to see navigation as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there are people flying.
Of course.
Because Supernats are out here. It's a little like, really? Okay.
And I mean, that people fly, and then there's also probably, at this point, we probably also have personal jetpacks and anti-grav scooters,
Jetpacks, so the ongoing, so basically, they came down to personal propulsion units. Anti-grav is generally safer than a jetpack, because jetpack actually burns fuel. So there are parts of the galaxy, especially on the verge, where it's like, well, we can't afford good tech, so we use the cheap old stuff. But around here, you're going to have anti-grav, and there are people with anti-grav backpacks. both just people with their own units, and also there are some for sale and for exhibition because of various megacorps. So there are, uh, there's people who's like, this is our latest line of mining equipment, of operating systems, of space station tech.
I imagine this is like, um, what's that store in the mall with all the cool shiny gadgets? Brookstone?
Brookstone, or what's
Or
the
innovation.
old one?
Innovation?
No,
Or is
But
it?
you know what I mean. The
The
anti-grav
dad's
tech would be, like one of those kind of places will have the anti-grav tech with, alongside their full body massage chairs or whatever they're trying to
Sharper
show off.
Image. Yes, the
Oh,
Sharper
Sharper Image.
Image.
Thank you.
The
Yeah,
dad
you know,
store.
they have, there's the booths with nothing but lounge chairs, and you can either buy them or just spend $5 and have 10 minutes in them or whatever.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
the water massage booth where you can get inside a bag and have basically like a car wash do a massage on you.
Yeah, they're
It's a
basically
real thing. I've
yeah.
seen it at the state fair. It's fucking weird.
Oh yeah.
The hot tub vendors. It's just
And presumably, if they have anti-grav and jetpacks, there's probably the hybrid tech where they're just using one anti-grav system to provide lift,
and then jetpacks,
and then a jetpack for navigation. Exactly.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying those kind of things would be on display because that would be the kind of selling the new tech or whatever, like the latest skateboard, like not the sport.
yeah.
What's it? What's the
Skateboards.
hoverboards? The rolly things? Yeah.
Oh, segways.
No,
Oh,
the
hoverboards.
ones without stands. They're like two-wheeled skateboards. You're standing on them and you roll around.
They're
They had a
still based
scandal
on Segway
about
tech.
catching on fire a couple of years ago when they were brand new.
Yeah, those. But
That's
like
just the batteries.
but future tech, but there would be those there because this is also a gaming convention. These are
So what you're saying is they're actually hoverboards.
the shiny. Yeah, they're actually hoverboards now. The shiny new tech would include personal propulsion devices, gaming peripherals.
So generally, aside from people that can clearly fly magically, there are people with personal anti-grav units and like boards, but those they need a blue sticker on their badge because it's generally for people who need propulsion assistance.
And also, you don't want someone who's jazzed in whatever the hell Klaus brought flying around in a jetpack.
Yeah. So it's basically people with disabilities who are using those because otherwise segways get annoying. But they're like, if this helps you get around, it's also a very accessible space, like good ramps and elevator and guards at the elevators, making sure that people who need assistance get on first. Goodness, in the future they get it.
I mean, in the future they would have. I would assume if they have personal anti-grav units, they have general anti-grav units, which are would be more efficient than elevators because all you gotta do is step on, you're going up.
Oh, and like anti-grav lifts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Halo.
So yeah, in the center of the room is the big megacorp, like terraforming and building spaceships and space station and all that. And then it kind of like to the sides as you get into their subsidiary companies, it's more like lounge chairs and hot tubs and like
Mattresses.
how to the house of the future and
Oh yeah,
even some agricultural stuff and
especially because it's Eden. We actually have agriculture here
you have you do have agriculture you
outside the city.
Yeah.
People come in to see this new stuff.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so is there what is Petruchio heading towards in particular, or are they just gonna do the rounds? It's a lot.
I
of
think
rounds.
I think Petruchio is gonna focus on. And obviously, Petruchio is not gonna do the whole expo hall. I don't have time. Nobody has time.
Nobody
Yeah.
has time. In the con of the future, there is not enough time.
So let's say I've identified a couple of exhibits with presentations that sounded really interesting, and like there might be something interesting to look at there based on their pre-press. And then I have a couple of hackers contacts who are working booths that I wanted to check in on and say hi and see if they saw anything interesting.
Are they working booths in the expo hall or the dealer's room?
let's say there are a couple that are working booths in the expo hall because they, it pays money.
Yeah. And they understand the tech speak and can speak it professionally for monies. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, you run a travel agency business, so there are definitely new interfaces for syncing your business model with StarNet.
Sure.
And also, new software for keeping your private business details private from StarNet.
Oh, that's useful.
Although these are corporate entities building them. So it's, But
So do I really trust them not to also suck in their data for themselves? Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely still a question in the future. The jetpack talk got me thinking about that again. Plasma propulsion engine. ADD. I'll look at this later. Thanks, chat. I'll check links later. All 4 of you. 3 of which are probably playing right now.
Yep.
Almost
one of which is
certainly.
arcane this age.
Yeah. Anywho. So yeah, it's pretty cool. There's also, a lot of video games, both corporate and indie. But yeah, so like is Patricia looking for, like, personal tech or plugins or how to build a space station?
So
or
up here, I'm more
accounting
interested in things that that might that I'm interested on a professional / investigative level. Things that basically I'm looking for plot.
Okay.
I'm not interested in buying stuff from the Megacorps up here. The stuff that I'm interested in for personal use is more likely to be in the dealer's room.
Yeah. You do find, so on a previous misadventure, y'all had a missing client who might have been kidnapped by changeling privateers with their hollow ship, which is a spaceship that actually has a hedge gate in it. And basically, when the local court said, do you want us to compound this, or do you want to keep the ship? Because we have a possession is 9/10 of the law, still Wild West kind of outlook on this. So y'all found this ship. You could keep it if you want. But these are also the assholes that hacked you, and they cover their tracks by having crappy, or they try to cover their tracks by having crappy operating systems on their ships. So it's like you've got this ship now, which your company has never had its own ship before.
So we need to replace the OS with something sane.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a thing to look at.
There's plenty
Definitely.
of that. There's plenty of people. You might know someone who's, like, working for a booth that's selling pre-packaged OSs and new software for ships and
More specifically, it wasn't that it was just a crappy OS. It was the fact that the crappy OS was slaved to the company OS, and the company had a big, we're fucked, scramble, erase all the evidence that we were here kind of button for the ship.
computer, and
Yeah.
it was so old it didn't really do that very well.
Yeah,
So I'm looking. So I need options to replace the OS on the ship. Theoretically, I'm okay with replacing it with something sentient because it can protect itself a little bit, as long as it's something that's self-willed that is actually willing to work for me.
There are definitely a contract option, especially since this is your company's ship. There are guidelines in place for AIs joining unions and joining companies under contract without being in unions. It's interesting, but there are people here to talk to. On your level, like, in the center, it's more like, are you looking to program a fleet of ships? And further out, it's like, no, just my ship. And there are those that are more like elite pleasure cruise ship software versus, like, no, we're a travel agency.
Right.
I just want something that works, that I can custom. And they're also, because you happen to know someone who, the person working the booth, they can lead you towards, this is more customizable. For your IT department, if you have specific needs, this one is more manageable.
Is having 5 dots of resources anyway.
It's as rich as you can be in the game without actually owning a planet.
So
So you're
while
You're very rich.
Yup. So while in theory, yes, this is the ship is owned by a small company. In practice, I do have the resources to kit it up with some secrets if I need to.
Oh, yeah.
If there's.
Oh,
So you want to play a game called Pimp Your Ship?
Now, some of that is probably better to get from downstairs from smugglers, but hey.
Well, that's actually one of the contests on the dark web boards, and generally
Pimp my
only
ride.
entered into. Well, there are people theorizing, wouldn't this work? The actual people playing are the ones that have ships, and most of them are pirates. So yeah, y'all are in possession of a pirate ship.
Maybe get some pirates to upgrade it.
Yeah. Well, or corporate, and then have the pirates fix the corporate bits. Not saying y'all are pirates.
Oh no.
Not at all.
Or
We're
smugglers.
not even
of
smugglers.
people.
I mean, okay, we are smugglers.
A little bit. Poco.
So if it's not painfully obvious, chat. So basically everyone in this game is some form of criminal. Maybe, sort of, kind of, no, yes, no.
We've all definitely done some illegal shit.
But you might be hard-pressed to find someone in Eden City who is not some form of criminal, because World of Darkness. Yay!
As long as you're not an asshole about it, I don't see what the problem is,
Basically. Being an asshole is kind of the biggest crime, and yet mages still live here.
And werewolves.
Vampires are at least good at being assholes, like, behind the scenes. Because they're like, no, we rule the world, but we don't run it. Because that's
They'll be-
annoying.
Vampires be polite to your face and then send goons to your door. But, mages. Contrary as cats, most of them.
Oh, actually, I have a question.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned that you'd forgotten for a while that paradox exists. And of course, paradox is contradictions between the way mages work and the way reality works to a degree, more or less.
Alright.
But this is a world that knows about magic. Does that make paradox worse, better, or about the same?
So in episode, we're in episode 14. I believe in episode 12 or 13, when, they're chasing the ghoul moth that was born of Klaus's paradox and can look into their soul. They go over a lot of that, because yes, it was previously thought that because people don't believe magic exists, that's why paradox happens. However, in NWoD, there's also the Abyss, which is part of the lie of reality, is that no, people can't change the world. Even though now people can do magic and it's publicly known and accepted that people can do magic, you're still not allowed to change the world. And the Abyss is part of it. They get into it more because they happen upon an NPC that is a higher level Moros and also not a total asshole who runs a nice hookah
I
bar.
love Jasper.
Jasper's pretty cool.
I'm
'cause-
sorry about what happened to his booze.
The Moros are fun. They're alchemists and necromancers. And so generally the most down-to-earth of all mages.
We give less of a shit. Less of a shit.
There may have been an incident at the bar, which I,
And all he did was deduct from your fee for finding the thing that was stolen. He's like, dude, you busted my bar. Like, literally. Okay, well, it's fine. And he, put up his personal magic shield, but, that's just common sense. Anyway, so yeah, I will... Oh, that might have been the episode where we had all the audio problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could talk about that.
We'll see.
Yeah, and Premiere is being a butt permanently, apparently. So eventually,
Exporting is taking 18 hours, which is not a thing which I have time for as a student who needs my computer for other stuff.
And I don't value my game or my YouTube channel over the sanity or well-being of my players. So I'm not.
I
gonna
appreciate that.
Not gonna make you. No, you must do this or else. Like no. So eventually, we could talk about it on Discord more.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
you know,
I do want to export it eventually because the fix itself was so simple. But then, exporting 3 hours of footage from Premiere, which doesn't like to export things.
Talk to me after stream. I have some things I say about that. Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, mage magic in a world where there is no veil still works pretty much the same, and so there's a whole lot of mages questioning why that is. And the NWoD abyss is a very different entity than the OWoD abyss. So interesting. So things we will discuss in the Discord because we've technically already talked about. Yeah, mage magic is interesting and weird still, even when it's right out in public. Anyway, so yeah. You can easily find a vendor to kit out your ship that is, median priced, and someone on the inside, or at least someone working the booth. Maybe someone who works for the company typically, because you need all kinds of computer skills, and we'll just, oh hi, and we'll point you because you scored 4 successes on that previous roll. So yeah,
Yep.
that's fine.
That's good. That's really good.
That's why I asked y'all to pregame. It's like, what do you want to do there? Okay. It's fine. La 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 la. So yeah, so and you other two are in the dealer's room. So the dealer's room has no windows. It's still the size of the Javits Center, but if the Javits Center had no windows at all and was a giant box, a giant sprawling just box, and people are a little grumpy. But at least the ceilings are high, so it's not like you're completely closed in, but it's a little like people are a little grumpy this year in the dealer's room. I definitely feel like we've been exiled to the catacombs of our own convention. We made this convention.
I mean, out of character, I've been to conventions that stuck the dealer's room in the basement, and it wasn't that bad.
Sometimes it's not that bad. DragonCon, that was a bad idea. Other cons, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, BotCon 2012 stuck in the dealer's room in the downstairs. No windows, but it was.
Arisha's is technically on a basement level, but it's one of those weird. It's like on a hill, so the basement opens onto a street, and then the lobby level opens onto another street, and weird.
No, this was in the Reunion Arena towers, whatever that is. So the basement level opened up directly into a subway station, essentially.
Oh, interesting.
So it was not a street, but it was. You had to go up an escalator to get to the street level.
Klaus and Dune, there are vendors of all kinds and all kinds of tech you can think of. Some definitely seem to have corporate licensing, and they seem to get the biggest and the best placed booths, but there's just everything here. Like, you might have seen what Petruchio put in their briefcase of all, like, the weird, and there are people selling that shit, and you're like, you don't know what it is, but, well, apparently it's a tech thing, but it's an antique dealer that's selling it. You're like, what? Okay, whatever. So is there anything either of you are looking for in particular while you're down here?
I was looking for information on the Chiron group. I don't know that I find it here.
Yeah, you're gonna be looking
have
for
to go
that
upstairs.
on the expo.
Aside from that, I'd say any kind of upgrades, perhaps to my combat plugins or my weaponry.
Oh,
any
yeah,
kind of specific weaponry.
There are several vendors of plugins, both for, I'm a local person and can work with you after, here's, your ticket for your appointment. And then there are people who basically have a tattoo parlor set up for at-con plugins, but those are generally lower level and cosmetic plugins. But even they will have there'll be the person doing the work in the back, and then there'll be a salesperson up front talking about all the cool stuff they have this year.
Yeah.
So there's a person to talk to that is not currently drilling something into someone's face or ear or so. But yeah,
Doing sit along the back of his neck remember the shitty second Spider-Man movie with Shia LaBeouf where Doc Ock had the thing on his spine?
Was Shia LaBeouf in that one?
Not Shia LaBeouf. Wait, who is it? Fuck. Tobey Maguire. I screwed up my pasty white voice, and I would like to apologize.
Sorry, pasty
Moving
white
wire,
boys.
yes.
I'm sorry, pasty
Sorry,
white boys.
pasty cisgendered straight presenting white boys.
I'm sorry. I got them screwed messed up.
We
but
know the world
happens, you
revolves
know?
around you, so we're
Yeah.
sorry to have screwed that up for 30 seconds. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, Tobey Maguire.
No.
Like,
yeah,
'cause
the
I
one.
saw that movie, and I'm still pretty sure I've never seen a Shia LaBeouf movie.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like, wait,
not. Sorry, I screwed that up. Shia LaBeouf was in
he's in
Transformers.
Transformers, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen those yet because I've been told not to. Anyway,
like the animation team went so hard, but they sucked so bad. The directing sucked so bad. But anyway, sorry. Back
we're
on
in
topic.
nerd mode. We're at a convention.
We're at a
Yeah.
convention, yeah. But yeah, no. Most of June's combat plugins sit along the back of his neck and down his spine.
A lot of yours, I have not clarified them, but yeah, a lot of them are directly implanted into your nervous system.
Yeah.
So
For what they are.
they're definitely tells and ports and things along your spine.
Yeah, but I'm not one of the super obvious people who have like Borg on the face, you know?
I mean, there are very Borg-looking individuals at this convention.
Yeah, there are people like that, but Dune is not one of them.
But you look like a Scottish Borg fisherman.
No, I don't look much like a Borg. Like I said, I don't have the obvious stuff. It's
you have
on the back, on the
plugins,
spine and stuff implanted there.
You can tell that there are people who invested less credits into their versions of probably your same plugins, but theirs are more obvious, because part of the reason you buy that many dots is so they're harder to see.
A surprise to my enemies.
Yep. So,
do you have a port? I'm curious.
Probably.
Yeah, Dune probably you said on the back of the neck, which is easily covered by your trench coat.
Yes.
And
trench coat covers it up.
Are you wearing the? Oh yeah, you're wearing the cap you're wearing. So
yes. And I've got my gun holsters.
So yeah, there's
I actually do have the trench coat. One sec, I'll be right back.
So, okay, while we're waiting, Klaus, what are you looking for? Or are you looking to sell rather than
I think plugins sound really neat, and I definitely have some of those, but I have put exactly zero thought into what Klaus's plugins might be.
One of them is the brain computer.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I might see if there's anything that can, like, improve that.
I'm not wearing this long, it's too hot, but...
Valid.
Yep.
There you go.
Blue, or is it blue? And my computer screen is just blorked.
It's more black than blue, but it's, yeah.
Think of that, only a nice navy blue.
Yep, in my Hammer Space trench coat here, I've got all kinds of pockets and stuff.
Yay!
And, it actually fits, so I don't have to cinch the wrists up, but,
And
other than that.
for katanas.
Definitely.
So yeah, you can both find both local plugin vendors, so to speak, who are taking appointments, and also, Klaus, you didn't get your plugins in this system. Dune, I believe you did get your plugins. So you see people you recognize who are also networking with some of the newer plugins vendors, and maybe they've also upgraded their own stock since the last time you saw them. So yeah, there are definitely people who can upgrade your personal tech. Klaus, roll intelligence and science.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
It's 15, so 3 successes.
So as you're thinking, oh, I could, upgrade my own hardware, you remember that. So the hardware in your head is rather proprietary to Chiron.
Yeah.
And so you would have to, I'm not saying you can't get it upgraded, but you might want to be careful who you ask to upgrade it for you, because they might recognize, wait a minute, this is a computer that's only used in synthetic humans.
Yeah.
And if they do their homework after that, might find, hey, this was only put into the LAU synthetic human.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful. So you've got you can cover the cosmetic tells, but
But when it comes to the actual hardware I've got installed, the vast majority of that is going to be a tell.
At this point, you need to be careful who takes blood and DNA samples from you.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't so big of a deal before the recall, but now it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So, not saying don't do it, but if that in particular, like, you might want to be careful to find a trustworthy vendor.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I as the player will pose this question to the party here of, are we willing to pull some bullshit if Klaus gets into trouble for, being a synth?
I don't hold what people are against them. I hold their actions.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know
it would be
Dune's
interesting.
on board, and
Petruchio might be annoyed, but it would still be interesting.
yeah, and Petruchio knows the risks because he hired them, but I also don't want to drag you as the players down a plot line that you aren't interested in playing.
I mean,
When is my plot ever interesting though?
Dune has his cousins already in the wings for some action as required, so...
I mean, if you do this without giving Petruchio a chance to try to steer you towards people who won't sell you out, he will be annoyed. I won't be annoyed.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to take like stupid risks about it, but as with anything based off of dice rolls and a GM who wants to use character things against us, the risk is there, and I just didn't want to like make a stupid decision that would drag you all into some plot that you weren't interested in,
I mean, you're basically back at this point, so,
Yeah. So I will look at what's around here, but I'm not going to do anything right this instant or anything, because I do want to see what Petruchio, as a person who knows a little more of what's going on here, has to say about specific vendors, and
I mean, I
take
probably
some
know
time
one
to
or
do
two as
some
well.
research.
you know.
Yeah.
Just double checking. Petruchio doesn't have any plugins at present, but you
Don't believe he does.
You certainly
Yeah.
know who to talk to.
Yeah.
I do as
Several
well.
different markets.
Who's trustworthy
Mhm.
for the most part.
Yeah, and I also might want to take input on what sorts of plugins would be useful to our job, because if I'm gonna be upgrading my computers, it's not gonna be just for myself.
I'm making this shopping episode interesting, damn it. Or hiding something else in the shopping episode. But yeah,
I know you've got a plot for us, but maybe we just want to shop the whole time.
Yeah.
I have no problem being in an imaginary convention for as many weeks as y'all want to keep playing in it. Just, make sure you don't accidentally find any plot.
Or make any plot.
Making plot, I can run with that. But, yeah, so, let's see. It's like a tattoo parlor. They just have it would be a data pad rather than a book. But yeah, especially the local, both the local vendors who are doing, and there are local vendors who are doing cosmetic stuff on site, but they're like, if you want something more substantial, like I live here, if you're in town, we can make an appointment, or if you're local. And they just have just data pads with you just scroll through there are
I'll go to the representative of the one from whom I got the plugins originally and ask them if they have any upgrades or anything like that.
Yeah, they are actually, it being you, they're probably Wolfblood. So there you go. And they are, so the person you actually worked with directly is in the back, changing, someone's, basically, it's a cross between, a collagen thing in the lips, but also, making them holographic. or giving them a holograph sheen. It's weird. You're just looking at, seeing what you can see from this angle. It's like that. No, don't care. That's weird. Klaus, do you follow with Dune to the?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the salesman up front is new, so you can't really talk to the guy, and they're like, oh, so you've contracted with what is their name? Their name is Notepad, not Notepad. I knew I forgot something. I forgot my Notepad.
Yeah, at this point, Klaus is kind of just following around Dune and like just taking in the sights, making mental notes of, might want to look into that one later. Yeah.
The Wolfblood is my third cousin on my father's side.
What's a Wolfblood? Says the salesperson, who's a little like new looking.
Have you been to Eden before?
No, I came here for college. I'm from a neighboring Expanse system, the name of which the GM will come up with eventually. Oh no, actually, I'm in from. I grew up in the Verge in Caldera, so I'm here for college, and yeah, I'm working in medical tech, so I'm just working at a with a plugins vendor, and it's it's pretty.
You do
handy.
know you are familiar then with the supernatural.
Yeah.
You know the general archetypes. Your vampires and your changelings and your werewolves. Yes.
Yes.
A wolf blood is to a werewolf what a clementine is to an orange. Very similar, but not quite the same thing. More human for one thing, but
What's a clementine?
a type of fruit.
Okay.
Think diet werewolves. Werewolves, but not quite.
Werewolves, but not after.
Okay.
We don't
Espresso bean?
Thank you. Sure, thanks. Yeah, so Maze is working on a client right now, but I'm sure they can fit you in for the we have lists here of all of our products right now. We can do replacements and switch outs. We can do upgrades. How long ago were your plugins installed?
Oh, it's been several years at this point. I believe something on the order of 30.
Okay, so if you click on the tag for upgrades, that might bring you more specifically to something that can build on what you already have. But yeah, and Maze kind of looks over at the sound of your voice and kind of waves, and then goes back to doing something to someone's lips, which looks weird and okay.
Whatever pays the bills, I suppose. Can't fault them for that. So I'll go ahead and scroll through.
Are you both looking for plugins and/or upgrades? I take it of more of a serious and less, or more of a practical and less cosmetic nature, or any is fine. We've Maze
pull the
offers
collar down so they can see the upgrades
Oh.
on the spine.
Yep, that's definitely their work.
They do very fine work. I've had them for 3 decades at this point, and not a single malfunction that wasn't externally applied.
And then at this point, she notices you notice she's looking at the sticker colors on your badge. She's like, "Oh, okay, okay."
No.
Your merc is
They do-
carrying weapons and clearly have physique enhancing plugins. Okay.
I mean, when I pull the collar down, she could definitely see
Yeah.
the knife that's in the sheath at the back of my neck.
That too.
on the trench coat, in the trench coat there's a sheath, and you could knife if you had to.
Life in Eden City. Aw, yeah.
Oh yeah, trench coat space. But
maybe not what she was expecting at a nerd convention, but there you go.
You definitely saw the knife. I'm probably one of like 5 mercenaries who are wandering around, but
Oh, more than that. But then, the Mercs Guild isn't all just like combat
Fighters.
heavies.
Right. I'm the only one with both a red and a yellow. Everyone else has got just the red, basically.
Oh no, there are plenty of people with
there are plenty of people with yellow,
yeah.
but they're not plenty of people with red and yellow because the
Yeah,
There are
not
probably
as
a
many.
handful.
Yeah, a
Not
handful.
there's probably a good handful, but not as many as because the mercenary would be interested in the digital work wouldn't be the fighty people, and the fighty people wouldn't be interested in as interested in the tech stuff. So you know,
Yeah, surprisingly, Pachuki, see, in the spaceship upgrade area, or the spaceship tax booths you've been looking at, you see a whole bunch of people with red stickers.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Pirates.
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 And what did I say? Blue was speaker? Or blue was lecture?
blue is panelist, yellow
Yep.
is armed, red is mercenary.
Okay, I'm just keeping track of my own bullshit.
Yeah,
Okay, so so the sales girl, she definitely seems like May has brought their usual employee front room person to do the talking. So this is a professional talker who definitely does understand the business and what you're looking for. So she can suggest, if it's an internal processing unit, i.e. computer, um, they do those kinds of upgrades. They can also upgrade the operating system and this, and she'll pull out 2 data pads, and basically whatever questions you ask, she can point you towards, these are things that you might find interesting. This is more towards your look at. This isn't maybe what you're looking for, but it's fun, so I'm told. And she's definitely a professional. She's a less impressive Priceley.
well, you can only do so much being a vanilla human, as it were.
You can tell she's got some cosmetic things, like her eyes kind of do a fun kind of coding, like Matrix look thing on one of them, and it's definitely a fashion thing.
Not
And
actual coding.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, you think. Dune, you might not know whether or not it's actual coding.
Yeah. Don't know. As long as it doesn't affect me, I don't particularly care.
All right, so it is 10 p.m. I've had fun this game because I'm Miss Khan, so I'm happy. I've got my players. I've got my
Yep.
imaginary convention.
I'm not. Didn't go to the state fair this year, so I'm kind of out on that.
Yeah.
The
Well, I think I was only at like 4 cons this year, and then suddenly they weren't
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I
I'm
normally
not
have
too
17, so.
I went to a bunch
Hashtag
of virtual
filk life.
conventions, but
Are you guys
it's
technically professional filkers, Josh?
No, because we don't get paid for it.
Oh, okay. Filk. All right. So one thing, Patricio was looking for. I guess we can go on to what the Chiron booth looks like next week. You do hear from your contacts on the expo floor, though, that kind of not necessarily the new big thing, but there's been an interesting new company has cropped up. They suspect it's one of those, hi, we're building a fun video game and want a bigger corporation to buy it. The company is Bonyip Games, and they're apparently have a big booth set up for a virtual reality game they're calling Vergeville. And it's like some kind of VR farming game or something, but it's like really popular.
Huh. Who's getting it? Who's looking at? Am I looking at Chiron or somebody else looking at Chiron?
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out next week.
Okay.
if you don't, I will. And I'm
Yeah.
not as good as investigation.
Shop first, stir up shit later. Also, Pachuca, you still have to go to your panel.
Yep.
We've got to get a feel for the place before we go and stir shit up.
You wanna enjoy the con before you burn it down.
Uh-huh.
I don't blame the con. I
We need
just
to-
blame the mega corporations.
We need to know which parts of the con we want to burn down before we start setting fires.
Yup.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So, chat, thank you for joining us today. We had a nice, fun, chill game because I've been expecting the tech to fail horribly at any moment. because Mercury's in retrograde, and I'm running a plot about a tech convention. So something I'm pleasantly shocked that we're still running.
Yeah.
So I call this a win. Also, I wanted to start things kind of light with Josh played with us last week, which was real fun. But I was a bit frazzled from the sudden loss of half our game. So I wanted to start with a nice easy push back into Eden City with its fun new travel poster, which your company technically made in game, and then someone defaced with spray paint. And I'm happy that I realized I remembered how Photoshop works. Anyway, so hi, I'm the GM, and I mean, if any of y'all have ideas for stuff for our social media, because pictures apparently help hoodwink the algorithms, so pictures is good. But yes, I'm the GM and the person running the channel and the stream and the social medias and the photoshops and all the things. We don't have a Discord yet because we don't really have that many fans yet. So, Discord, maybe someday. But right now we just have a Discord for herding these cats. The cats that I adore, because they are here, and they are listening to me, and actually listening to what I'm saying, and as someone who used to run a Changeling the Dreaming LARP, wow, that's so nice. Anywho, yeah, so hi, I'm the GM, Ms. Chrysala, and this crazy effed up sandbox is mostly of my make, except for the parts that I've stolen from players because I love yes-anding them, because that's what makes this fun. And someday, if we can make affiliate, we can have character drops and the like from chat using channel points rather than monies, because I don't actually know what to do with real world monies in this context, because we're not really doing this for the money.
Yeah, no.
Maybe charity stuff can happen later, because plenty of charities need help right now. But yeah, happy to work for channel points, to be honest. But yeah, I love the yes and. I'm the GM. Haro. Follow us on. We have our YouTube channel and our Twitter account, and I think our Facebook are all linked on our Twitch channel. So take a look at that for links to follow us on the various social medias. And I adore the cast I have, but we're still looking to expand the cast because, last minute scheduling conflicts come up in the middle of a pandemic / apocalypse. And I would rather not put guilt on my players for having to miss and cancel game because a life thing happened. So my hope is that we have 6 players, and then we can average 3 to 4 per game, and it'll be awesome. So if you are curious or interested, and if you have a good webcam setup, and are a solid role player who is not afraid to roleplay with strangers, drop us a line on our social media accounts and we can talk. So we are not looking for professional actors. One past cast member was a professional actor. That was fine, but I'm mostly looking for gamers who can roleplay. We're not a professional channel. We are an amateur channel. We really just want to do a fun regular performance / gaming thing every week because they're fun. And so my players don't have to feel guilty about canceling game because I only have 3 players and a family emergency came up, because that's not fair.
I'd like to piggyback on that because it does concern this channel.
Oh.
On October the 31st, we are going to be running a special Demon Hunters game. Demon Hunters, a comedy of terrors. We'll be running a special game then with pre-generated characters. But I would like a few, and I'm GMing it. It's gonna be great.
I'm not running it. It's gonna be awesome.
But at this point, I only have 2 confirmed players. So if you don't want to stream regularly but have time on that Saturday to join us, we have spaces open. There are 4 more seats for this adventure that I can fill. So
if you want to try us out, it's Fate, not White Wolf. But I mean, if you're more the system we're using for Eden is kind of a hack job of a bunch of versions of White Wolf that I've smushed together and makes no sense. So if you want to play in a real system, Merc is, and when we occasionally run Demon Hunters, we run it straight Faith Core because it's easy.
Yeah.
So if you want to try us out, drop in for that. See if you like streaming. I promise a fun Halloween episode because we're already streaming Saturday nights. It'll be interesting competing with other streamers for the first time ever on Saturday night.
Yep. But yeah, if you want to try it, if you know somebody else who wants to try it out, you don't have to commit for the whole thing. This would be just a one-off event. If you happen to like it, you could join the regular cast. If you didn't like it, now you know. But yeah, I'm looking for at least 4 more players for that.
And our Discord is just for organizing the stream, but we do have people who are on as kind of backup players, but I think the one backup player we technically have is technically in the throes of a new job schedule, so he hasn't been able to help out or play, but that's, that happens too. So, we have people on the Discord channel who are just like, I would like to jump in whenever you're running Demon Hunters, and no other time, and I'd be fine with that. Because we do sometimes do that when there is scheduling weirdness. Or
Yep.
Halloween.
Because it's easy to throw together one of those.
And me, Merc, and Drac all met because we run Demon Hunters modules at cons. So generally, if something goes wrong and Exit to Eden can't run that week, we're probably going to default to Demon Hunters whenever possible. And you both are welcome to run games of that, and Josh also. Josh, if you have stuff you want to run, like one-shots, yeah, we'll see. Because I do not always have to run the games here. I am happy to share the GM seat with others or trade it off. So, yeah. So aside from the Halloween game, Dune, who is you in real life? Or
one more note, there will be a little hacking of the Halloween game because it's going to be a special game. But otherwise, it'll be, it's Faith Core. It's easy enough to hack up if we need to. So, in real life, I'm Merc. I play Dune. I don't really do much outside of this that I would promote, but Zombie Orpheus Entertainment does Masters of the Metaverse on Monday nights. It's a really fun live stream RPG, which is definitely slightly more professional than this one is, because they do use professional actors.
Well, they accidentally already had them.
Yeah, they had them,
they had them already, and they're like, do you guys want to do this Twitch thing? And
they said yes. So, but they ended up with a cast of actual actors as opposed to us, who just ended up with a cast of actual players. But yeah,
gamers.
They play on Monday nights on the Zombie Orpheus Twitch channel. It's really fun. You should totally check it out. And you can watch the entire backlog on either their live YouTube channel, Zombie Orpheus Entertainment Live, not the regular Zombie Orpheus YouTube channel because it was messing up their algorithms, or the Fantasy Network, which is a free video streaming platform for indie fantasy sci-fi filmmakers.
Yes, it is excellent. I'm looking for someone to raid. Meanwhile, Josh, who are you when you're at home? Which is always, because we're all quarantined in New York.
Afraid so. So when I'm at home, it's okay. When I'm at home, I'm Josh. I tend to go by Neme or Nemex in various places, including on Twitch. But I don't have any other streams I need to promote right now. And while I tend to run conventions, which is very apropos for this, I'm not currently involved on the board. Okay, I'm on the board of trustees, but that's not the point. Of a convention right now that I need to promote.
Yay! Yes, by all means, promote your convention. Promote all of the things.
That said, I am on the board of trustees of Chessicon, which is running on Thanksgiving weekend, and is running virtually this year, and should be having enormous amounts of fun.
Finding people to raid is hard. Okay. So Dracus, who are you?
Hi, I'm Dracus. I've been I have been playing Klaus. I'm also apparently losing my ability to sew a coherent sentence together. You can find me on social media as actual Dracus, and I'm probably going to be posting character art on Instagram soon, so that might be interesting. Yeah, I don't have anything to like promote at the moment, so
First a bot and now character art. Awesome. We
yeah.
are moving up in the Twitch world.
Hey, I wrote some fanfiction.
Sometimes I gotta doodle while I roleplay, and yeah.
And
I want to practice making a comic, and I think it would be funny to draw out us trying to make cookies in the office kitchen.
Yes, please.
So
please do this. Yes.
Yes. I'll
Yes.
figure that out soon. It'll be out there.
Awesome. So, and fun thing to note, the Decuma, the Decuma Tarot deck isn't out yet and probably won't be out for a few more months, but their PDF for using the Decuma Tarot deck as the in-character equivalent of team building exercise. That PDF is out now, and it is very fun, and when we have a few more new players, I would like to run through that. So it's a lot like Savage Worlds, only a bit more in depth. And it's pretty fun. Maybe I will link that on the Discord. And why can't I find just the tabletop gaming tab? I'm bad at running streams. Why am I in charge? Being the Kermit is hard. Okay, what have we got? Anyone running World of Darkness? Or do I just want to send us to a DJ? Because that's all I know anymore. All of the goth DJs have built Twitch channels, and it's so fun, and I love it. I want it to never end. Because I can now get fun gothic industrial music at any time of day because they're all around the world and also probably just don't sleep. I don't know. Is anyone else following any channels that are on right now?
The Dice Cult is on with Dungeons and Dragons.
They're cool.
Is it The Dice Cult?
Yes. All one word.
Ah, yes. Let me...
The Dice Cult.
Take a look at their channel. Oh no, first I must look at this ad.
Of course.
Oh, Call of Cthulhu. Fun. Alright, so chat, thank you for sticking with us. We are going to do a raid. And send all 4 of you to another channel for funsies. So, Night Chat, thank you again, and please tell your friends to come watch us. Even if, Twitch is a fun thing to take up some time on a quiet evening if you are stuck in Quarantineville, like the rest of us, and we are having fun doing this. So, and again, if you are if you want to try this with us, like, we will have opportunities for new streamers to try out streaming. I mean, I only started doing this because Merc basically boot-kicked me onto someone else's stream when I wasn't ready to, and I won't link to that video because I look very puffy. I have since learned how to make up and light for games, and yes. But I still appreciate that, Merc. Because all this other weird stuff wouldn't have happened if you hadn't gone, no, put Chris in your Demon Hunters game, it'll be hilarious.
Chris has got a cat, yeah. That's definitely work.
And I asked the GM, do you want to see my character sheet before you let me? He's like, no, whatever. I'm like, are you sure?
That was the kitten who knocks things down, right?
Well, that was one of her stunts. Is once a game she can just knock something over that isn't stapled to the ground.
I am still sad you doesn't bounce the Nunmobile. That would have been just the coup de grace.
Oh yes, the stunt is called Does It Bounce? This led to many strained and pained look from the GM, who I think will never make that mistake again. And, yeah.
Hey, you were not any worse than the Necromancer.
Oh yeah, I think maybe he's just been desensitized by the Chris's in his own gaming group to have been not seen this Chris coming. All right, so what is the command for
/raid and then the Dice Cult. All one word. All lowercase, I think.
All right. So again, thank y'all for joining. Thank you, players, for playing. I know it's been a rough recruitment drive, but we are still here, damn it, and we are still weirding the world of darkness because it's fun.
I
don't
love
think
playing
can
Klaus
work.
and writing passive-aggressive poetry at my poetry teacher, inspired by him.
This
Them.
makes me
Wow, I'm
I
tired.
don't know that your command worked.
All right. Well, I haven't entered it yet because we're still.
Ah, okay.
All right. So, and raid.
There you go.
Good night, everybody. Mwah. Thank you for coming. We'll be
Yeah.
back here next week.
We've got 20 more
Hopefully.
seconds before the timer runs out, so you know.
Woo! Raid now. Yay!
No.
Ooh,
Oh no.
On break, okay.
No, I can do.
of course.
I can do Saturday on Overcast.
I'm gonna run because I really need to pee. But
Go.
on this evening.
Wait, before you go, my sister's computer is